Divine Comprehension, a dimensional journey begins in Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 451, Garp's Unkindness, Action. Bogart, who was standing by, naturally heard Garp's mumbling. As Garp's adjutant, he also understood Garp's dislike for people like nobles. Therefore, Bogart was not surprised, but just persuaded him, Vice Admiral Garp, don't be angry yet, the situation is not settled yet, let's wait and see. Maybe they are just taking a boat? Besides, even if they are really guests of the nobles, we have to try to win them over. Hearing Bogart's words, Garp's face was also uncertain. Bogart was right. Regardless of whether the mysterious swordsman was a noble or not, their mission would not change at all. However, if I knew it was like this, I wouldn't have come. Garp, who was getting more and more aggrieved, couldn't help but curse in a low voice. A moment later, Garp came to the shore with a dark face and brought Bogart. At this time, Wu Tong and others also walked down from the boat one by one. Vice Admiral Garp, good evening. Looking at Garp in front of him, Wu Tong greeted him with a smile. It's those damn nobles. As Garp looked at the team that had no males left except Wu Tong, he became more and more certain of his guess. After all, no one other than the nobles could do such a ridiculous thing. So Garp, who felt that he had seen through Wu Tong's true face, snorted coldly, ignored Wu Tong's greetings, and didn't even bother to ask about the swordsman. He asked directly, "Boy, where are you from, and why did you come to Windmill Village? And who is the swordsman who sent out that sword energy just now, in the live broadcast room? Dragon King spraying water, is Garp out of his mind? He has such a hot temper? What noble? Wu Tong? Him? A noble? Don't believe the poor young man, that shouldn't be the case. Logically speaking, Garp shouldn't have such an attitude even if he is facing a stranger he just met for the first time. Buyao Bilion, didn't you hear what he said? A noble. Garp must have mistaken Brother Tong for a noble, so he is so disgusted with Brother Tong. After all, he is Garp, and even the celestial dragons don't like him. Mortal world leisurely travel. Well, in terms of general rationality, Wu Tong's pomp at this time is indeed very similar to some nobles. When everyone in the group was talking about it, Wu Tong was a little confused by Garp's words because he didn't watch the live broadcast room. Noble, what's wrong with Garp? How did he know that he was a noble? With doubts in his heart, he naturally had to ask, so Wu Tong asked curiously, Vice Admiral Garp, how did you know that I was a noble? Garp frowned, as if he had not expected Wu Tong to ask him this question, so Garp rolled his eyes and said, do you still need to ask? Apart from nobles, there are other people who would be so ridiculous. Wu Tong followed Garp's gaze and immediately saw the women behind him who had eaten the slippery fruit and whose figures and looks were even better than before. He immediately understood. So Wu Tong immediately smiled bitterly and explained, Vice Admiral Garp, you misunderstood. Wu Tong was interrupted by Garp before he finished speaking. What is there to misunderstand? Do you want to say that you are not a noble? Is that possible? Listening to Garp's words, Wu Tong's face also looked a little ugly. He thought his attitude was already very polite, but Garp's behavior of not giving him face at all also made Wu Tong a little annoyed. Since he became famous, everyone has been respectful to him. But now he was interrupted again and again. Even though Garp was a person he liked, he was angry now. So Wu Tong did not explain, but looked at Garp coldly with a fake smile. Oh, so what? Even if I am the noble you mentioned, so what? Does it mean that you can own the East China Sea? We don't even have the qualifications to come to an island. Hearing Wu Tong's words, Garp immediately showed an expression that he finally stopped pretending, and said bluntly, I don't care about other places. Anyway, Windmill Village does not welcome the arrival of nobles. Oh? What if I have to go in? Hearing Garp's words, Wu Tong was also amused, so he said in a grim tone, haha kid, you can try it. Before he finished speaking, everyone only heard a loud bang. Wu Tong's figure appeared in Garp's position. However, in the eyes of everyone, Garp's figure turned into a residual image, smashing towards the distant sea level. Boom! A moment later, with a deafening sound, a water column rising from the distant sea. So fast Bogart stared at the figure that suddenly appeared beside him, but he didn't react at all, and drops of cold sweat oozed out of his forehead. You know, His strength is not simple. Even if Garp wants to launch an attack, Bogart can detect it, but he didn't feel the action of the young man in front of him. Realizing this, Bogart's mind suddenly popped up a guess that even he felt a little incredible. Could it be that this noble young man is more powerful than Vice Admiral Garp? Impossible, impossible. Thinking of this, Bogart hurriedly shook his head and dared not think about it anymore. Just when Bogart was about to guess the truth, he gave up personally. Haha, good boy, I didn't expect that you, a noble kid, actually have such strength. Garp rushed out of the sea with a big laugh, with injuries all over his body. When he looked at Wu Tong, there was a little more appreciation in his eyes. If it were those ordinary nobles who only knew how to eat, drink and have fun, Garp would naturally not give them a good face. But if it was someone as powerful as Wu Tong, even if he was a noble, Garp would be kind to him. This is not bullying the weak and fearing the strong, it is just a simple respect for the strong. Then, Garp changed the subject and looked at Wu Tong with sharp eyes. However, if you only have this kind of strength, it is not enough for me to give in, kid. Hearing this, Wu Tong was a little helpless. Can't this guy see the situation clearly? But thinking of the strange brain circuits of the monkey family, Wu Tong was silent. As long as you are happy, in the live broadcast room. Chapter 452, Battle, a crushing battle. The Angel of Laziness. Oh, the fight has begun. The fight has begun. The passerby, Garp is really brave. He actually dares to challenge the great Demon King. It's so inspiring. The Dragon King sprays water. Come on, old man in a cloaked navy. You must defeat the great Demon King Wu Tong, the gentleman sort of Huishan. Up, this, Professor Oak, Alice, that's how they are, brother, you just need to get used to it in the future. The bully spider. Yes, what Professor Oak said is right. You just need to get used to it. Garp didn't say anything when he heard what Wu Tong said. As a noble, isn't it normal to be a little arrogant and conceited? This is not a big deal. To deal with this situation, I have experience and can beat him up with my iron fist of love. While thinking, Garp raised his fist and rushed towards Wu Tong. Iron fist of love, fistbone, meteor. The next moment, a huge and surging armament haki instantly gushed out of Garp's body, layer by layer, and wrapped around his right arm. Then, he punched out, an endless power instantly condensed at the fist, and then turned into an unstoppable attack, attacking Wu Tong. Wherever the fist went past, the air vibrated, the atmosphere twisted, an endless wind pressure spun around the attack, attaching a powerful storm to the surface of the attack. From a distance, this attack was like a javelin condensed by the wind, as powerful as the power of God. Wu Tong looked at this wind column like a sharp arrow javelin, coming towards him in a mighty way, and the expression on his face did not change at all, as if Garp's attack was just a blow from a child. Garp looked at Wu Tong's indifferent expression, and his face couldn't help but look a little ugly. Although his attack was not all his strength, it could be said that he had 1/10 of his strength. Even those red-haired people had to be careful when facing his attack. But the kid in front of him was so arrogant under his attack, and didn't take his attack seriously at all. This made Garp angry and worried. After all, even though Wu Tong was a noble, he hadn't done anything out of the ordinary. If he really killed Wu Tong, it would be troublesome. Well, forget it. If this kid can't hold on, I'll take action again. After all, he's just a child. Just teach him a lesson. There's no need to be too harsh. Just when Garp was ready to help Wu Tong when he couldn't take his attack, Wu Tong suddenly took action. Power, swallow. Wu Tong stretched out his right hand and held it horizontally in front of him. The next moment, a black hole as dark as ink, as if it could swallow all the light, suddenly appeared in front of Wu Tong's right hand. Then, Garp saw a scene that he would never forget. His attack was swallowed by the black hole. Just like a drop of water merging into the sea, his attack just entered the black vortex, as if his attack should belong to the black vortex, without causing any waves. Seeing this scene, Garp couldn't help but be a little absent-minded, muttering in a low voice, "How is this possible?" In the live broadcast room. Dragon King spraying water. Oh, the old Navy grandfather wearing a cloak was broken by the big devil, lazy angel. As expected, don't bully the poor young man. It's really a crushing battle. Don't shake the green lotus. Who said it's not? After all, Brother Tong is not human now. Photographer. Wow, Wu Tong is getting stronger and stronger. I don't know when his strength can reach the star god level. In this case, I can ask Wu Tong to help me teach those two guys a lesson. Sky King, haha, Zio Sanayu, Judging from Wu Tong's lazy personality, you probably have to wait. Rolling his eyes, Wu Tong ignored the funny conversation in the live broadcast room, but looked at Garp, who was in a daze, and asked in a calm tone, "Do you want to fight again?" Vice Admiral Garp, to be honest, Wu Tong was a little tired of this game that was like a child's house. He came here for leisure and travel, not for fighting. Wu Tong decided that if Garp really didn't know what was good for him and replied that he wanted to fight again, then he would not hold back. Kill Garp first. After dying once and then resurrecting, Garp should be able to listen to what he said, right? Of course, I didn't use my full strength just now. Garp was silent for a while and answered solemnly. This time, he no longer regarded Wu Tong as a junior, but as an opponent and a strong enemy who could be treated equally. At Garp's point, there were not many people he could call his opponents. Since Roger's death, his old friends and old opponents were either dead or injured, or had fallen into old age and their strength had declined significantly. Only he himself remained in peak condition due to physical reasons. Oda said that in One Piece, Garp is the only old man who will not have the problem of declining strength due to aging. This made Garp feel the loneliness of the strong, because he had not enjoyed the fun of fighting for a long time. Now, he finally met someone who could be called an opponent. How could Garp not be excited? In that case, don't blame me if you die. Wu Tong heard Garp's answer, and his face suddenly darkened. He originally thought that Garp would take the initiative to admit defeat after seeing the gap in strength, so that he could relax a little. Unexpectedly, he seemed to have stimulated his fighting spirit. The monkey family is worthy of the homonym of monkey. This kind of thinking like monkeys made Wu Tong a little at a loss for words. Vice Admiral Garp, you? Hearing Wu Tong's words, Bogart suddenly became a little restless. According to the current situation, although Wu Tong's strength is still mysterious, there is no doubt that he has a very strong power. Even in Wu Tong's move just now, Bogart felt a power that even Garp might not be able to deal with. Therefore, Bogart dared not pretend that he had not heard Wu Tong's words. After all, if something really happened to Garp, it would be a huge blow to the reputation of the Navy. It might even lead to turmoil in the world. Chapter 453, Sword Power Cuts Through the Sky. This is not an exaggeration. The title of Navy hero has always been an unshakable flag and benchmark in the Navy. It is this benchmark that attracts young people from all over the world who yearn for peace to rush to join the Navy. Even the five elders have to compromise and give in to Garp in some matters because of this title. From this, we can see the value of this title. If this benchmark is really shaken or even disappears suddenly, the turmoil caused will be absolutely immeasurable. It is even possible that it will cause turmoil in the world. Don't stop me, Bogart. Hearing that Bogart wanted to stop him, Garp turned his head and looked at him seriously before Bogart finished speaking. Looking at Garp's eyes, Bogart saw Garp's long-lost passion and excitement. Just one glance, Bogart understood that Garp was serious about this matter. Seeing this, even if Bogart wanted to stop him, he could only give up the idea of stopping him in the face of such a Garp. After all, Garp was not only his superior, but also his mentor, so when faced with such a serious request from Garp, even he didn't know how to refuse. So, after a long silence, Bogart turned around and pretended not to see it. Lieutenant General Garp, I wish you good luck in your military career. Haha, I'll give you my blessing then. After dealing with Bogart, Garp smiled at Wu Tong calmly and responded to Wu Tong's words, don't worry, fighting is always a matter of life and death, and I'm not so disappointed about this. What's more, I'm quite confident in my own strength, and I don't think I will lose. Then, Garp looked around and saw the messy scene, and suggested, but, how about we change the battle venue? I'm afraid that this place will be destroyed by the aftermath of our battle in a while. Wu Tong shook his head and rejected Garp's suggestion. No, it's just a matter of a moment. Why change the venue? Just a matter of a moment? Haha kid, I didn't realize you were so arrogant. Garp laughed, but he was not angry. On the contrary, his heart was full of solemnity. Garp knew very well how deeply rooted the pride of the strong was in the hearts of those strong men. The stronger a person is, the less he will lie. After all, their strength is enough for them to push down all obstacles, and they don't need to rely on lying to achieve their goals. Thinking of this, Garp's expression became more solemn. Looking at Garp's alert expression, Wu Tong yawned indifferently. Flaw? Seeing Wu Tong's flaw, although Garp was puzzled by Wu Tong's behavior, he did not hesitate and took advantage of this gap to prepare for action. In the live broadcast room. Don't bully the poor young man, Dem. Sneak attack. This old man has no martial ethics, lazy angel. This can only be regarded as a tactic at most. Aren't you talking too much? Don't shake billion. Cut. No matter what the situation is, he is not as good as my brother Tong anyway. Passerby, that's right. After all, the gap in strength is too obvious. The principle of the early bird catches the worm, and the first move wins. Garp is not unaware of it, but he just disdains to use it. After all, his strength was far superior to his opponent before, and he didn't need to use such a trick to crush the enemy. But now it's different. He is facing an opponent who can compete with him or even surpass him. Therefore, this little trick of winning by surprise can be used at this time. After deciding to take action, Garp did not hesitate and directly began to mobilize his strongest power, Conqueror's Haki, Entanglement. Conqueror's Haki. Entanglement refers to entanglement with Conqueror's Haki to attack, which can substantially attack the enemy without contact within a certain distance, and its strength is far greater than Armament Haki Entanglement. This is a skill that only a handful of strong people can master, and as one of the top strong people on the sea, Garp naturally knows this trick. As Garp used this Conqueror's Haki Entanglement, countless black and red lightnings suddenly dissipated around Garp. Like a series of unruly lightning, it raged wildly on this land. Suddenly, the land was surging, the sea was steaming, the wind was blowing, and the sky and the earth changed color. All kinds of terrifying phenomena, as if they were free, appeared crazily on this land. However, Garp did not let the domineering aura run rampant for too long. In just a moment, he used his will to control the surging domineering aura, turned it into armor, and put it on his body. And the people on the side also saw with their own eyes that the domineering aura, which had always been known for its unruly nature, was subdued by Garp's will and turned into a docile little lamb, entwined around Garp's fist. Haha kid, you have to be careful with this move. After getting ready, Garp laughed and reminded Wu Tong, and then punched out. Fistbone Supernova. In an instant, the air in front of Garp was directly blown up by the huge impact force, making a deafening and earth-shattering explosion. The surging fist force turned into a transparent fist print like a meteor, like a supernova explosion, carrying an unparalleled powerful force, rushing towards Wu Tong. The power is okay. This move can already be called a human-shaped natural disaster. Wu Tong looked at this so-called strongest move of Garp, and his heart was not disturbed, and he even had the leisure to comment on it. Then, Wu Tong changed the subject and said arrogantly, "But this little power is useless to me. Okay, since your strongest attack is only this level, then it's time to end this farce. If you can do it, then come and try it." Garp mistook Wu Tong's confident words as a provocation, so he responded unwillingly. "Haha, then you better watch out, this sword can kill you." Hearing Wu Tong's words, Garp was extremely keen to notice a certain word, sword. Could it be that suddenly realizing a possibility, Garp was about to ask? But before Garp could ask his question, Wu Tong made his move. Sword Deo Authority, cutting a line in the sky. Wu Tong put his two fingers together to form a sword finger. Suddenly, the sky and the earth changed color, an endless sword intent quietly emerged between heaven and earth. Chapter 454, Garp's Death. In an instant, the vast sky, the boundless land, the vast ocean, the invisible wind, the formless water, the flowers, plants and leaves in nature, the air everywhere, and even the tiny dust in the air, all seemed to have turned into invisible swords at this moment, pointing directly at Garp. Drawing the power of heaven and earth, beheading the enemy. This is the power of Shinto authority. Just a little bit of authority can easily gain the power of the world's authority in this world where there is no true God. Let the world follow, celebrate, and cater to it. In the live broadcast room. Witnessing Wu Tong's sword with their own eyes, the live broadcast room suddenly exploded. Of course, this is not the shock and the destructive power of Wu Tong's sword, but the shock of the power of Shinto authority. King Xianji? Damn, King Xianji, what the hell is this? It looks like it's just that powerful, but why does this attack make me feel a little threatened? Photographer, hiss, this attack is so terrifying. Dragon King spraying water. By the way, this thing should no longer be called sword energy, right? What on earth is it? Mortal world leisurely. This is the power of Shinto authority. Buyao Bilion. Oh my god, Shinto authority. So this is the result of Brother Tong's 3 years of seclusion. Brother Tong is really worthy of being Brother Tong. Really awesome. Wu Tong ignored the strange phenomena that occurred in the surrounding environment to protect the authority of Shinto, and just calmly pointed his sword and drew it vertically in the direction of Garp. Then, a sword energy as thin as a hair suddenly appeared out of thin air along the trajectory of Wu Tong's sword finger, and then rushed straight to Garp's position. Wherever the sword thread passed, no matter if it was a tangible object or an intangible object, or even everything, it was instantly cut in half by this sharp, extremely condensed sword thread the moment it touched the sword thread. Naturally, this also included Garp's proud attack. That attack didn't even have the qualifications to stop the sword thread. It was split in half by the sword thread in just a moment, and then dissipated in the air. Then, after splitting Garp's attack in half, the sword thread continued to move towards Garp, and soon, it had reached Garp. Die. Looking at Wu Tong's hair-like sword energy, Garp did not dare to be careless at all, because he seemed to feel endless death in this sword. The endless breath of death instantly filled Garp's brain. This fear and trembling that came from the heart was something Garp had not experienced for a long time. This feeling, I haven't experienced it for a long time. Looking at the sword thread that was gradually coming towards him, Garp laughed. Then, he began to stack up defenses frantically. That's right, Garp didn't intend to avoid this attack. No, it should be said that he couldn't avoid this attack at all. It's not because the speed of this attack is very fast. To be honest, the attack speed of the sword thread is not fast. At most, it is the speed of ordinary sword energy. If it is an ordinary sword energy, let alone Garp, even some pirates with a bounty of tens of millions can easily dodge it. In this case, why is it said that Garp, as the world's top power, can't avoid this attack? This is actually because this attack is triggered by the authority of Shinto. Therefore, this attack has the blessing given by this world a sure hit. This is not the so-called sure hit attack that Blue Dog can dodge by luck. Instead, it is a veritable sure hit that the world locks and suppresses the enemy to achieve the sure hit effect. Therefore, when facing this move, Garp could only go hard and had no way to dodge. Armament Haki entangled and hardened, flow unloading, external defense overlord Haki externalized, gathered, condensed, entangled life return, muscle hardening, iron, alloy body in almost an instant. Garp used all the defensive moves he had learned in his life. But it was useless. Those iron walls that could withstand artillery bombardment on weekdays. At this moment, facing the sword thread that Wu Tong casually cut, it seemed so fragile and powerless. All the defenses did not play any protective role. The sword thread cut through all kinds of defenses, just like drawing a knife to cut water, and easily broke through all kinds of defenses set by Garp. Then, after cutting through all the defensive means, the sword thread followed the original trajectory, and then cut through Garp's body, and finally disappeared into the sky. In the live broadcast room, Dragon King spraying water. Oh my god, just kill him so directly, Seeker, just let him die once, he will be resurrected in a while. If we don't do this, with the brain circuits of the monkey family, they will definitely not be able to communicate normally. Cute King, 666, this kind of thing, I guess only you can do it, Fanshin Yi. Then what else, besides Brother Tong, who else can abuse the resurrection prop so extravagantly? Passerby, no comparison, rich people are willful, without a powerful sword energy, it seems that the great swordsman who just sent out that sword energy is you. Haha, now it seems that I really can't stop you. Garp, who was cut by the sword thread, looked at his seemingly intact body and was amazed. As a strong person who practices physical skills, Garp naturally knows his current situation. After being cut by that terrifying sword energy, it is naturally impossible for him to be without problems. The reason why he looks intact now is actually because the sword thread is too thin and too sharp. Even if it cuts his body did not notice it. So, now it looks like he is not injured. But Garp knows that this is only a temporary situation, and he will die eventually. If we go by the facts, he is actually dead now, and the reason why he can speak is because of the last breath. But even facing death, Garp did not feel regret or fear. Instead, he held his breath, looked at Wu Tong, and said what he wanted to say most at the moment. Although I don't know why you came here, there are some things that I can still see. Chapter 455, Long Lost Rage, Garp's Resurrection. Even if you are a noble, you are definitely not the kind of person who is greedy for pleasure. Boy, can I ask you for something? Wu Tong nodded and replied calmly, go ahead, can you please not hurt my subordinates? After they learn about my affairs, they may do something extreme. The time was up when he was halfway through his words. Garp's body had already reacted to the fact that he was it. So, before Garp finished speaking, he split directly. Well, it split literally. From top to bottom, it was directly divided into two halves. At a glance, you can even see pink flesh, white brain matter, and the internal organs that flowed all over the ground. Vice Admiral Garp, seeing this scene, Bogart could no longer hold back the sadness in his heart, and rushed directly to Garp's body, knelt on the ground, and burst into tears. In the live broadcast room. Fanjin Yi, how tragic. It feels that if Garp can't be resurrected, that Bogart will attack Brother Tong in a wild lazy angel, isn't this for sure? The sailors on Garp's ship are people who are more emotional than rational. If they knew Garp's current fate, they would definitely choose to avenge him. Tragedy. It is stupid to do something knowing that it is impossible. Unshakable billion. No, no, no. It is brave to do something knowing that it is impossible. Just as everyone was discussing Bogart's next plan, Wu Tong was somewhat broken by Garp's dying words. No, old man Garp, what do you mean? Do I look like a bad guy? Why do you think I would attack those Navy officers? I'm not a pirate. I'm not a noble. I don't like killing innocent people at all. Thoughts surged in his mind, and Wu Tong suddenly felt angry for the first time in a long time. The women standing aside and watching the show and the people in the live broadcast room couldn't help but marvel at Wu Tong's anger. It can only be said that Garp is gifted in angering people. Vice Admiral Garp, a Wu Tong, who was originally in a bad mood, frowned after hearing Bogart's howling, and shouted impatiently, "Okay, stop howling. This old man can still be cured. If you bother me again, I won't care. Can it be cured?" Bogart, who was lying beside Garp's body, stopped wailing when he heard Wu Tong's words, and then quickly stopped his wailing behavior, and looked at Wu Tong, who had just spoken, with an earnest look on his face. Wu Tong, who was stared at by an old man with such a look, "Don't look at me like that. I don't like men." Wu Tong rolled his eyes and said, "Okay, take your eyes off me and stay aside. As for Garp, leave it to me." Wu Tong's voice just fell. Bogart, who was kneeling on the ground, turned over and ran to the site at the speed of a 100-meter sprint, fearing that his presence would disturb Garp's resurrection. After Wu Tong saw Bogart leave Garp, he did not hesitate and casually constructed a new resurrection coin. Then he threw it directly on Garp's body not far away. Then he began to talk to everyone in the live broadcast room. Seeing this, Bogart on the side immediately had a black question mark on his face. What the hell? Why did he throw a coin and leave it alone? Can this coin be used to resurrect Vice Admiral Garp? No, it's impossible. There should be another one. Just when Bogart thought that there were other resurrection procedures, a white beam of light instantly covered Garp's body, interrupting his thinking. This is such a rich breath of life. Along with the rise of the light column, a rich life essence instantly entered the nose, which immediately shocked Bogart. Is this light column containing such a huge life essence really made by that coin? If this is true, then that coin might really be able to resurrect Vice Admiral Garp. Not to mention Bogart, who was surprised. The light column formed by the resurrection coin continued to emit a milky white light. Alicia on the side watched this scene that she hadn't seen for a long time since she came to this world, and couldn't help but sighed. The resurrection light column, I haven't seen it for a long time. Eden on the side nodded in agreement. Yes, huh? Sister Ali, you said this light column is the resurrection light column? Then that coin, could it be the resurrection coin? Beside them, Zhu Huking and several other girls who were watching the resurrection beam intently, could not help but be surprised when they heard what Ayla Shidaya and the others said. As envoys sent by the Xingluo Empire to marry, their status was not low, either princesses or daughters of nobles. Therefore, they naturally knew about the resurrection coin that caused a stir in the Douluo world some time ago and was said to be able to resurrect people. However, they had only heard of it and had not seen it with their own eyes, so they were so surprised by Ayla Shidaya's words. Yes, Ayla Shidaya nodded and replied. That coin is the resurrection coin you are talking about. How about it? Does the resurrection scene look shocking? Ayla Shidaya looked at the expressions of the girls, the corners of her mouth slightly raised, and asked with a smile. It's really shocking. I never thought that resurrection would be so simple. Jin Ringsu nodded, and there was a bit of magic in her eyes when she looked at the resurrection light column. At this moment, Wu Tong, who was watching the show on the side, looked a little strange after seeing Jin Ringsu's eyes. It shouldn't be. After a while, the milky white light column gradually dissipated. It revealed Garp, who was standing in the center of the light column. He had been resurrected from a corpse and was intact. The resurrected Garp looked at his body with a blank face. The doubts in his heart almost drowned him. What's going on? Wasn't he dead? Then what happened to him now? Has he turned into a ghost now? Vice Admiral Garp, just when Garp wanted to continue exploring, a nervous howl with a hint of crying suddenly brought Garp back to his senses. Garp looked back in the direction of the sound, and a middle-aged man with a cowboy hat was running towards him. Bogart. You died too. Chapter 456, Warning states, the story is well written, but it would be better if the logic was more rigorous. Hearing this strange greeting from Garp, Bogart's head was suddenly confused, and his steps could not help but slow down. What dead? Suddenly, Garp saw the shadow under Bogart's feet. Huh? You have a shadow? You're not dead. Hey, if you're not dead, how can you see me? Bogart, who had sorted out his thoughts, was speechless when he heard Garp's words. Vice Admiral Garp, stop guessing, it's actually you who is resurrected. Resurrection? Garp was shocked when he heard the words, and then pointed at Bogart and laughed, and even began to laugh forward and backward. Resurrection? Are you kidding? How could there be such a thing as resurrection in this world? Huh? What is this? My shadow? I'm not dead. While laughing, Garp suddenly saw his own shadow, and his brain was directly shut down. Vice Admiral Garp, this is actually the case. Seeing that Garp had reacted, Bogart also came to Garp's side and told Garp what had just happened. After a while, after listening to what Bogart said, Garp's expression suddenly became complicated. Resurrection, coin, light column, how come all these sound so incredible? But before he could figure it out, a voice instantly pulled his consciousness back. Can you talk properly now? Vice Admiral Garp, seeing that the situation here was over, Wu Tong came over and said to Garp with a smile. Garp, who came back to his senses, looked at Wu Tong who was walking towards him with a smile, and suddenly had an embarrassed smile on his face. Of course, I'm sorry, brother, it seems that I misunderstood you. Garp, who was beaten and even died once, finally reacted at this moment. Wu Tong and his group of people must not be nobles. After all, he has never heard of any noble who has such strength. What's more, if resurrection is really something that nobles have created, it must have been snatched away by the celestial dragons, and it is impossible for it to appear on the sea. But who are you? After Garp apologized, he looked at Wu Tong and others with a serious face. He couldn't help but be solemn. The resurrection coin, a swordsman who was more powerful than the world's #1 swordsman, and a very advanced ship. Everything showed that the team in front of him was not as simple as it seemed. As a navy that maintains peace on the sea, Garp naturally knew the identity and purpose of this group of people. We are from another world. Wu Tong didn't talk about other things, and directly said the identity of himself and others with a calm face. There was no way. His strong strength made him fearless of any challenge. So naturally, there was no need to hide it anymore. Instead of living in hiding, it was better to state everything openly. Anyway, Wu Tong had enough strength to cover all the consequences. Another world? Too. Hearing Wu Tong's words, Garp and Bogart exclaimed in surprise, their tone full of surprise and relief. Yes, only another world can explain why there are a group of strong people who suddenly appeared. Marin Fenduo. Navy headquarters. In the marshal's office. Another world. Listening to the information coming from Den Den Mushi, Sengoku was so shocked that his beard almost fell off. Unbelievable. Garp, I didn't expect that a big and strong guy like you could tell such a true lie now. Listen to the visitors from another world, the young and powerful swordsman, the strength that is stronger than Garp, the resurrection coin, the Garp who lives another life. How rigorous the ancient wooden ship is. If there is no loophole, maybe I would believe it. What loophole? Travel. That guy Garp actually said that the purpose of those visitors from another world to come to this world is to travel? Do you think I believe it? Should I believe it? Okay, Garp, I admit that your ability to make up stories has indeed improved a bit, but you should be more rigorous next time. Also, if you have time now, go and check the matter of the swordsman. Don't chat with me when you have nothing to do. I have a lot of things to do. Looking at the familiar old face imitated by the Den Den Mushi, Sengoku casually perfunctorily said a few words, and was ready to hang up the Den Den Mushi and continue to deal with affairs. You have to know that he is the admiral of the navy, with a lot of official duties, but he is not as idle as Garp. He can take time to chat with the old guy for a few words, which is considered a break. I didn't lie, Sengoku. Why don't you believe me? Listening to Garp's words, Sengoku said a few perfunctory words without sincerity. Oh, okay, you didn't lie. Can I hang up now? Forget it, Bogart, you can talk to him. Anyway, I don't understand. I'm going to Wutong to drink. Listening to Sengoku's extremely perfunctory words, Garp knew that Sengoku didn't take him seriously. So he was too lazy to continue arguing with Sengoku, and directly threw the den mushi to Bogart, and then left here. After Bogart took the den mushi, he looked at the den mushi that had not been hung up, and said seriously, Moses, Marshal Sengoku. I am Bogart. What's the matter with you? Looking at the den mushi that had changed, Sengoku frowned. He had already noticed something was wrong. After all, if Garp was just joking with him, he wouldn't have let Bogart get involved. Marshal Sengoku, Vice Admiral Garp is telling the truth. Have you also been infected by that old man Garp? Looking at Bogart, who was transformed by den mushi, with a serious look, Sengoku felt nervous, but he still didn't think it was true. After all, visitors from another world were too ridiculous. Marshal Sengoku, I swear in the name of justice that Vice Admiral Garp and I are not lying. Everything Vice Admiral Garp said is what I saw with my own eyes. Hearing that Bogart actually swore in the name of justice, Sengoku immediately became serious. After all, as a Navy Marshal, no one knows better than him the Navy's persistence in belief in justice. So when he heard Bogart swear in the name of justice, Sengoku already understood that what they said was probably true. Bogart, tell me in detail what is going on. Tell me all the details. Yes, Marshal Zanguo, this is what happened. Chapter 457, Angry Nami, Garp's Anger. About a quarter of an hour later, after listening to Bogart's story, Sengoku could not help but fall silent. Visitors from another world, resurrection coins, powerful fighting power, young age, advanced ship technology, and the purpose of their arrival. I didn't expect that all of this was true. This is really unbelievable. Sengoku rubbed his swollen head, sighed, and then said to den mushi, okay, I know, from what you said, they should not be bad people. In this case, you try to win them over. As for now, you and Garp should entertain them well and establish a good relationship with them. It would be best if you can form an alliance. I will arrange the affairs here first and go to the East China Sea as soon as possible. Yes, Marshal Sengoku. Beep beep beep. After hanging up the phone, Sengoku was no longer in the mood to continue reviewing documents. He walked to the window, raised his eyes and looked towards the direction of the East China Sea, and remained silent for a long time. Under the sky covered with dark clouds, there seemed to be a ray of dawn that was gestating and about to erupt. When it cuts through the sky, the dawn will follow. Alice, the storm is coming. It seems that the whole world is going to be in chaos. Looking at the dark clouds before dawn, Zanguo sighed softly. This matter is almost beyond doubt. As long as the news of Wutong and others is exposed, the whole world will definitely boil over. Whether it is the world government, the navy, pirates, gangs, nobles, good people or bad people, no matter what the reason is, they will go crazy for it. As the saying goes, never doubt people's greed. Even a small one piece will attract the pursuit of the world, let alone a brand new world. Brand new territory, resources, beauties, strong people, and cultivation systems are much more attractive than One Piece. It would be strange if they were not moved by it. Alice, after sighing, Zanguo suddenly turned his head and looked at his desk. On the wall behind the desk, there were a few big words hanging brightly, justice reigning over the world. Looking at these words, Zanguo was in a trance for a long time, and then a long-lost smile appeared on his face. But it seems that being a little chaotic is not a bad thing. Maybe my justice can really be realized in this chaos. After a long time, a voice of relief, excitement, and longing came out of Zanguo's mouth. It was very small, so small that only he could hear it. But it was also very big, big enough to set off a huge wave in Zanguo's heart. East China Sea. Goa Kingdom. Windmill Village. In the Tavern of Makina, Wutong and his group, who have gained Garp's trust, are in this tavern, talking to each other around a large round table with Garp, Bogart, and Luffy, who has woken up. Brother Wutong, what are other worlds like? Is there also an ocean? Are the pirates there? Luffy sat next to Wutong and asked Wutong all kinds of questions with excitement. Other worlds? Which one are you asking about? I've been to many worlds, but each world has its own unique characteristics. As for the sea, It seems that every world has it, but the profession of pirates seems to have become a thing of the past in those worlds. Facing the inquiry of this curious baby, Wu Tong also smiled and answered his question. The current Luffy is still the Luffy before the war, although he yearns to become a pirate. But in essence, he is more like an adventurer who yearns for a free life at this time, and it is not impossible to turn back. If it is the Luffy 2 years later, Wu Tong will not give him a good face, because Luffy at that time has completely become a pirate. Pirates have become history. Mr. Wu Tong, can you tell me about this? I'm quite curious about this news. Bogart, who was standing aside, was surprised when he heard Wu Tong's words, and asked before Luffy spoke. He couldn't imagine how the countries in those worlds eliminated pirates. If they could know this experience, could their navy also achieve this level through similar means? Thinking that pirates might become history in the future, Bogart suddenly became excited and looked at Wu Tong with excitement. Just as everyone was getting along and enjoying the happy atmosphere, a sudden roar, like a thunder, broke the harmonious atmosphere. Enough, you only know how to ask. What's there to ask? Don't you know what your navy did? Everyone looked up and saw Nami, who was eating, staring at Garp with an angry face. What's going on? Wu Tong looked at Nami's angry expression, nudged Nan Lixiang next to him with his elbow, and asked. I don't know. Nan Lixiang, who was being nudged, was also puzzled and confused at the moment. Don't ask her, she doesn't know what's going on. At this time, Alicia suddenly came over from a seat next to her. I know. Wu Tong rolled his eyes. Why don't you tell me if you know? Alicia smiled and said, it seems that when Garp was eating, he accidentally saw the dragon tattoo on Nami's arm, so he asked a question. Then Nami scolded him. Oh, so that's it, he was blamed. After hearing Alicia's words, Wu Tong immediately understood the cause and effect of the matter. It seems that it was Garp's problem that provoked Nami's sad things. After all, it was not only the dragon pirates who persecuted the Kokoja village, but also the rat colonel, who was also one of them. After thinking it through, Wu Tong immediately looked at Garp, who was scolded with a sympathetic look. But even if you were blamed, you deserved it. You said you had nothing to do, why did you pick on others' nerves? At this moment, Garp, who was suddenly scolded by Nami, also looked innocent. What's going on? Why was he scolded all of a sudden? Isn't it just asking a question? He didn't seem to have done anything, did he? Damn, what on earth is going on? Ms. Nami, has our navy ever done anything bad? Chapter 458, Garp learns the truth, anger. Bogart on the side looked at Garp's confused look, then looked at Nami's domineering look, and asked cautiously. Nami did not reply, but left the tavern quickly with a gloomy face. However, everyone saw that where Nami walked, a few crystals suddenly fell from the air. What is going on? When Nami slammed the door and left, Garp finally reacted. After scratching his head, he immediately looked at Wu Tong and others with a puzzled look. Wu Tong and others looked at each other, and then Wu Tong slowly said, the fact is that this is what happened. Then, Wu Tong told the two Navy officers in front of him about Nami's experience in detail. Including but not limited to dozens of villages enslaved by the dragon, Nami's adoptive mother was killed, forced to join the dragon pirates, the agreement of 100 million berries, the cooperation between Colonel Mouse and the dragon, and their joint efforts to kill the Navy who came to support. Garp and Bogart did not speak, but just listened quietly to Wu Tong's story. However, the more they listened, the uglier their faces became, and their auras burst out involuntarily. When Wu Tong finished speaking, their faces had completely turned into coal, and their auras burst out directly. Under this surging aura, even the surrounding floors and tables and chairs had cracks. It's simply outrageous. In the Navy of the East China Sea, there are such scums, absolutely unforgivable. Garp became more and more angry, and angrily slapped the table and roared loudly. And the table, which had already had some cracks, was completely scrapped under Garp's fierce blow. With a loud bang, the innocent wooden table was instantly turned into a pile of broken wood chips. But now Garp is in no mood to care about these trivial matters. Now his heart is completely filled with anger. Garp knows that because of his status as a symbol of the Navy, the East China Sea has always been the focus of the Navy's attack. It is precisely because of this that the East China Sea can be called the sea with the least pirates. Because there are more Navy, there are fewer pirates, and with fewer pirates, people's lives will be better, and with a better life, there will be peace in the East China Sea. But he didn't expect that in the peaceful environment he created for his hometown with all his heart, a group of bedbugs that survived by sucking people's blood actually bred, and they were bedbugs that had been at ease for so long under his nose. Now Garp dare not think about how many people and how many families have died over the years because of these bedbugs that cooperated with pirates and exploited the people. But it is conceivable that it must be an astronomical number. Bogard, call the warship right now. I'm going to go over and take down the dragon pirates and the 16 branches. Yes, Vice Admiral Garp. Hearing Garp's words, Bogart saluted and prepared to take out the Den Mushi from his arms. In his opinion, those evil Navy people are even more hateful than pirates. After all, it's not just about doing evil, they are also destroying the reputation of the Navy. So, when Garp said that he would set out immediately to deal with those termites and pirates, Bogart responded immediately. Wait a minute. Wu Tong, who was standing aside, saw this and suddenly spoke up to stop Bogart's action. Then, facing the two people's puzzled eyes, he explained, no need to call, I will take you there directly. Anyway, one of the purposes of coming here this time is to solve this matter for Nami. I originally planned to go tomorrow, but now that the atmosphere has come to this point, let's just solve it tonight. It won't take long anyway, take us there. Although Garp and Bogart could understand Wu Tong's words, please forgive them, they really couldn't guess how Wu Tong would take them there. Yes. Take you there, Wu Tong nodded, and there was no intention to explain. He closed his eyes directly, and then began to use all his strength to release his spiritual perception. Suddenly, a majestic and surging spiritual power instantly spread out to the surroundings with Wu Tong as the center. In a moment, the majestic and spreading spiritual power took in all the situations of the entire planet. Navy headquarters. Marin Fendo. Sensing the sweeping sight from above, Zanguo, who was arranging work for his subordinates, frowned. Huh? Observation haki? No, it's not observation haki, it's more like pure mental power. But how could there be such a strong mental power in this world? By the way, this situation, could it be caused by those visitors from another world? After thinking for a while, Zanguo felt a headache and gave up the idea of pursuing it. Anyway, those people are too strong. If they really did it, then no matter how much he thinks, it will probably be useless. But after thinking about it, Zanguo couldn't help but feel a burst of joy in his heart. This is also a good thing. If this mental power is really emitted by those visitors from another world, it means that their strength is definitely not bad. If the power of the Navy is added, the success rate will increase greatly. 5 old things. This time, it's your turn to be scared, Moby Dick. A giant with white beard and potions hanging all over his body was looking at the children in front of him with a look of satisfaction. Suddenly, a burst of mental power swept across the ship. Whitebird raised his head suddenly, and his eyes suddenly became serious. As he moved, a majestic domineering aura instantly emerged from his body and spread to the surroundings. Goo la la la, is it that kid? How dare you spy on my Whitebird ship? The other members of the Whitebird pirates couldn't help but cast their eyes on him when they saw their father suddenly say such a strange thing. Dad, what happened? Dad, is anyone spying on our Whitebird pirates? What? That guy who doesn't care about his life dares to spy on the world's #1 pirate group. Listening to his son's inquiries, Whitebird did not answer, but still looked around vigilantly. However, he obviously didn't get a response. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459, Departure to Kokoja Village. Deep in Panga City. Between the flowers. After a black figure felt this huge spiritual power, his face suddenly changed and he was shocked. Is this a domineering power of observation? No, it's pure spiritual power. But how is this possible? How could there be someone in the world who has such a strong spiritual power? Who is this person? Feeling this spiritual power beyond cognition, Yemu's originally wonderful mood suddenly became gloomy. After all, this spiritual power is too strong, even she is far inferior to it. What if this person has any ambitions? No, absolutely not. This world does not need 2 gods, only I am the master of this world. No matter who this person is, no matter how powerful this person is, he must die. Then a gnashing voice suddenly sounded in the flowers. Afterwards, in Shuangpanga City, The 5 figures who were handling official business suddenly stopped everything in their hands as if they had received some news, and hurried towards the flowers. In addition, other people who could sense this powerful spiritual power also showed vigilant expressions, and began to use the observation haki to explore the surrounding situation. However, Wu Tong, the culprit who caused all the unrest, was in no mood to care about those people's thoughts. After taking the whole world situation into his mind through spiritual exploration, Wu Tong carefully searched for islands within the sea area of the East China Sea. Soon, Wu Tong found the island coordinates of Kokoja Village. Found it, Wu Tong said, looking at the shining island location coordinates marked in his mind. Then, Wu Tong withdrew his spiritual power and waved his hand to construct a dimensional gate leading directly to Kokoja Village. Looking at the dimensional gate in front of him, Wu Tong stretched out his hand and gestured, "Please come in." What is this? Even though Garp was now overwhelmed by anger, he was inevitably shocked when he saw this scene. A small trick, just a portal that can directly reach Kokoja Village. Wu Tong waved his hand and said humbly, "Space-type fruit." Hearing Wu Tong's words, Bogart spoke subconsciously. In his impression, it seems that only space-type devil fruits can have this ability to connect space. But space-type devil fruits are too rare, even he has not seen many, and Wu Tong and others are from another world, so he asked in a puzzled tone. About the same, Wu Tong wanted to refute after hearing this, but when the words came to his lips, he suddenly thought that it was too troublesome to explain the difference to some people who didn't understand the heavens and the worlds. It's better to admit it to them. Anyway, they will slowly know these things in the future. It's mainly laziness. Bogart is naturally not a fool. Hearing Wu Tong's perfunctory answer, he knew that this thing is not a devil fruit. It seems to be an ability from another world, but I don't know if this ability will be like the devil fruit and cannot be popularized. If it can be popularized, I don't know what to use to exchange for one. If our navy had this capability, we might not have the situation where when we arrived, the pirates had already run away happened in the future. Who cares what it is? Wu Tong boy, you said that the opposite side is Kokoja Village, right? No matter what Bogart thought in his heart, Garp didn't have so many tricks. What he wanted to do most now was to set off to Kokoja Village as soon as possible, and then deal with the dragon pirates and the 16 branch termites together, to make up for the damage caused to the people due to their negligence over the years. Wu Tong nodded, yes, very good, in that case, let's set off quickly. After getting the confirmation, Garp also nodded with satisfaction, then looked at Bogart and said, Bogart, you don't have to go to Kokoja Village, I will deal with the dragon pirates myself. You go directly to the warship and take those guys to the 16th branch, then take the dead rat and those corrupt navy to Kokoja Village. Yes, Vice Admiral Garp, split into 2 groups, move quickly. Garp's meaning is very clear, and Bogart naturally understands it. So although Bogart felt a little regretful that he couldn't deal with the dragon pirates himself, if it was to deal with the navy warriors, he was still very happy to do this. Well, then I'll leave it to you. After Garp finished speaking, he took a step and turned to enter the dimension gate. Then this side is left to you, Bogart, we'll go together. Seeing that Garp had left first, Wu Tong didn't waste any more time. After greeting Bogart, Wu Tong glanced at the chaotic tavern around him, then turned to look at Makina at the counter, waved his hand to create a pile of gold, and said with a smile, Ms. Makina, we will leave first. As for the wine money and damages of the tavern, I think these should be enough. After that, without waiting for Makina to refuse, he turned around and walked into the dimensional door. Seeing this, the women also hurriedly stood up and followed Wu Tong's steps into the dimensional door. As for the scene, only Luffy, Makina and Bogart were left looking at the pile of gold in shock. Kokoja Village. Dragon Paradise. The dragon pirates, unaware of the impending danger, are still having a drunken party. Ha, let's drink together. Cassie, are you raising fish here? That's all. No, give me some more. This is good, this is also delicious. Hoozat, stop eating, come and have a drink. In the dragon paradise, a large group of fishmen were gathered together, eating, drinking and having fun happily, and the sound of laughter almost resounded through the sky. However, few people know that these joys are all obtained by taking advantage of the pain of others. Not far from this group of fishmen, Aaron, who was wearing a yellow t-shirt, green shorts, and a red sun tattoo on his chest, was lying on a beach chair, watching all this leisurely. Brother Aaron, what are you thinking about? Don't you want to come and play with us? At this time, a minnow mermaid came over and smiled at Aaron lying on the chair. Chapter 460 Arrival, The Forgotten. Hearing this, Aaron looked up and said suddenly, "Ah, it's Kruby." "It's nothing, I was just thinking about Nami," Kruby asked puzzledly. "Nami's matter? What happened to Nami?" Aaron frowned and said, "Nami hasn't been back for 3 or 4 months, right? I always have a bad feeling. You know, this is the first time, so that's what you are talking about, brother Aaron." Hearing this, Kruby waved his hand indifferently and said, "What's there to think about? It's just that she hasn't been back for 3 or 4 months. Isn't this too normal for a pirate thief? Besides, as long as she is not dead, she will definitely come back. After all, this is her hometown." Aaron did not relax his vigilance when he heard Kruby's words, but said in a deep voice, "I'm not too worried about her safety. After all, she is just a lowly human being. There is no need to worry about her, but I'm afraid she will inform the Navy." Hearing this, Kruby couldn't help but say speechlessly, "Brother Along, you are worrying too much? Let's not talk about what kind of powerful navy the East China Sea can have. Even if he really has a navy, we can send a few people to smash their ships. The navy without ships is just a group of useless people who can't resist." "Yes, brother Along, what Kruby said is right. Besides, Nami doesn't dare to tell the news. You know that everyone in Kokoja Village is in her hands. She knows the consequences of doing so." At this time, Jiu also came over and interrupted. Hearing what the two said, Along was relieved. "You are right. Nami will never betray us unless she wants the villagers to die. It seems that I am worrying too much." He naturally knew Nami's situation very well. Let alone other things, just say that she did the job outside. If she didn't come back for 3 or 4 months, it would not be impossible. As for telling the news, that's even more ridiculous. Given Nami's concern for Kokoja Village, even for the sake of the lives of the villagers in Kokoja Village, Nami did not dare to inform them. It seems that she is indeed a little worried. After thinking it through, Aaron put aside the bad premonition that just arose. Seeing that Aaron finally relaxed, Jiu and Kruby also smiled and said, "Brother Aaron, it's good that you have figured it out. Let's go and have a banquet with everyone." "Ha ha ha ha, okay." Hearing the words of the two good brothers, Aaron also laughed. Not far from the Dragon Paradise, in a small forest, a transparent black circular plane suddenly appeared in the originally empty air. It looks like a mysterious portal connecting to other places. This portal is the dimensional door opened by Wu Tong. Shortly after the dimensional door appeared, a burly man wearing a navy uniform and a cloak of justice suddenly walked out of the dimensional door. Then, a man and dozens of beauties also walked out together. After everyone walked out, the black dimensional door slowly closed behind them. "Is this the Kokoja Village?" Gart looked around the surrounding environment and saw the building with a logo of the Dragon Pirates not far away. "Then the building not far away is the Dragon Paradise you mentioned, right?" Wu Tong nodded and said affirmatively, "Yes, that building is the Dragon Paradise." "That's good, then I'll go first." After hearing Wu Tong's confirmation, Garp stepped hard before Wu Tong finished speaking. With the help of the reaction force of this step, he immediately turned into a sharp arrow and rushed towards the Dragon Paradise. This personality is really his style. Seeing this, Wu Tong couldn't help but sigh. "Okay, stop sighing, let's go quickly, or I won't be left behind again." Feng Xian looked at Garp, who was about to rush to the Dragon Paradise, and couldn't help but urge him. Hearing Feng Xian's urging, Wu Tong couldn't help but smile bitterly and said, "Xian, why are you so anxious? We still have to travel in this world for several days. Besides, there are so many pirates in this world. Stop talking nonsense and go." Feng Xian was in no mood to listen to Wu Tong's preaching, so she spoke directly and interrupted Wu Tong. Then she planned to activate her ability and rush over directly. "Ah, okay. Problem child. Isn't it just that the kid robbed his head? Is it that serious? And, you dare to throw a tantrum with me? It seems that this girl needs to be taught a lesson tonight. Wait a minute, did we forget something?" At this moment, Nan Lixiang's voice suddenly rang in everyone's ears. "Ah," Wu Tong glanced at the girls behind him in confusion. Did you forget something?" "No, yes, our things are all in the storage ring." "Is the thing lost?" "Whose things are lost?" The girls looked at each other in confusion. Nan Lixiang was speechless when she saw this. She was in no mood to play dumb with everyone anymore, so she just opened her mouth and revealed the riddle. "Oh, it's Nami. When we left, Nami ran away. She didn't know we were here, so she wasn't taken with us. Hey, luckily you reminded me, Lixiang, otherwise, I'm afraid I would have really forgotten our heroine. After hearing this, Wu Tong finally reacted. Okay, hurry up and pull the people over. How can we avenge Nami without taking her with us? Lixiang was very happy about Wu Tong's words of gratitude, but before she was happy for a few seconds, she felt someone's death sight, so she hurriedly urged, Fengshan, so, can we set off? Wu Tong nodded, and then waved his hand casually, and a dimensional door flashed quickly in front of everyone, leaving only an orange-haired beauty who was in a daze. After Nami was teleported over, she was stunned at first, and then when she saw Wu Tong, she already understood who did it. So Nami quickly calmed down from her trance. Is this Kakoja village? Dragon Paradise? After looking around, Nami saw the familiar dragon logo not far away at a glance, and immediately exclaimed, Yes, this is Dragon Paradise. I will avenge you tonight. Are you excited, Nami-chan? Chapter 461, Arlong Pirates, a funny performance. Alicia looked at Nami's surprised expression and immediately smiled and explained. Nami was stunned at first, then she showed a smile that seemed to be crying and laughing, and was extremely excited. In that smile, the woman clearly saw the gratitude and relief that were interwoven by countless emotions. Thank you everyone, thank you for helping me. Wu Tong and others looked at Nami's behavior and smiled knowingly. They all understood Nami's behavior. It was nothing more than excitement and gratitude for the revenge that was about to be taken. But now is not the time to say thank you, the matter has not been resolved yet. So Wu Tong stopped Nami's behavior and said to the woman, Okay, thank you, it's not too late to say it after the matter is done. Let's get to work first. Now that everyone is here, let's set off quickly. After that, Wu Tong didn't plan to waste any more time, and directly began to mobilize the special authority in his body. But in an instant, Wu Tong's footsteps stepped lightly on the ground. Then, a burst of white light suddenly flashed out at the place where Wu Tong's feet touched the ground. Spatial authority, small teleportation array. The white light suddenly extended and spread, and soon turned into a complex and complicated magic array, which included all the people present. The next second, the already formed magic array suddenly emitted a white light, and transferred everyone in the grove to the interior of the Dragon Paradise. When they arrived at the Dragon Paradise, everyone saw an extremely strange scene. Carp stood at the gate that had become a ruin, staring at the fishmen inside with an angry face. And the fishmen like Aaron were still angry when they saw someone dared to destroy their gate. As a result, after seeing Carp's appearance, the expressions on the faces of a group of fishmen immediately changed from anger to shock, and their bodies froze in place. M maintained the posture of the banquet, frozen in place, and dared not move. Is it performance art? The fishman's performance art is so ugly, and the posture is so ugly, it's really ugly. Looking at the posture maintained by the evil dragon group in front of him, Wu Tong couldn't help but complain. Although Wu Tong didn't know why they became like this, he had some guesses. You know, most of the fishmen in Arlong's evil dragon pirates were once members of the Sun Pirates. When the Sun Pirates were captured, they must have witnessed the strength of Vice Admiral Borsellino, who was still a Vice Admiral at the time. Therefore, Wu Tong guessed that they had a psychological shadow on the powerful navy. Therefore, when they saw Garp, they were so panicked that they didn't even dare to move. Arlong and his group naturally heard Wu Tong's complaints, but they didn't dare to speak out under Garp's nose. They could only stare at Wu Tong with red eyes, as if they wanted to stare Wu Tong to death with a burning gaze. Staring at me? Tisk, that's all you can do. Wu Tong looked at Along's red eyes and his murderous look, and curled his lips in disdain. Feng Shan interrupted impatiently, Okay, just do it, there's nothing to say, they are just a bunch of damn pirates, okay, let's do it. As soon as Wu Tong finished speaking, everyone present began to act, the women who summoned their martial spirits and rushed towards Along's group, Garp, who saw the women taking action and also clenched his fists and rushed towards Along's group, and Along's group of pirates who knew they were no match and had already started to flee frantically, all began to act. Suddenly, the scene became a mess. Martial spirit, space power. Self-condensed spirit ring, first spirit skill, space blade. Die. After controlling the space power transformed from the martial spirit and condensing it into a knife, Feng Shan rushed to Fishman with a big laugh, and without saying a word, she picked up the space blade in her hand and slashed at the Fishman. Get out of the way, damn human. The fisherman pirate was also angry when he saw Feng Xian dare to rush towards him. I am afraid of the Navy heroes, not you weak and lowly humans. Not to mention you female humans who are weaker than male humans. If I were not in a hurry to run away now, I would definitely tear you to pieces. The fisherman pirate thought viciously in his heart, and at the same time, his hands were not slow. He directly swung a punch and smashed Feng Xian in front of him. The fisherman pirate was very confident. As a man with 10 times the strength of a human, even if he did not use all his strength, he could easily blow away the woman in front of him who didn't know how to live or die, and even worse, it was not impossible to smash her to death directly. Die, damn human. The fisherman pirate's eyes were bloodshot, looking at Feng Xian who was ignorant of life and death rushing over, as if he saw the other party's death, and grinned and showed his fangs. Hell, looking at the ferocious face of the fisherman pirate, Feng Xian just smiled disdainfully. She didn't think that after these days of practice, with her own strength, she might lose to a small fisherman soldier. So, Feng Xian directly raised her knife and chopped at the fist of the fisherman pirate attacking her. The fisherman pirate saw that Feng Xian's knife turned and chopped at his fist, and his heart was suddenly horrified. He is confident, but he is not stupid. How can a mortal body collide with steel? Isn't this looking for death? So the fisherman pirate wanted to withdraw his offensive to avoid Feng Xian's knife. But how could Feng Xian not see the fisherman pirate's idea, and the skill of shrinking the earth developed by the innate ability of shuttle space was immediately displayed. Feng Xian crossed the distance of 5 or 6 meters in an instant. In one step, she came to the front of the fisherman pirate, drew her knife and chopped down the fisherman's hand. The fisherman pirate was shocked when he saw Feng Xian suddenly appear in front of him. Before his brain could react, his fist had already attacked forward subconsciously. When he came to his senses, it was too late. The space blade was already in his hand. The result was obvious. With the sharpness of the space blade, how could the fisherman's mortal body withstand it? When the space blade and the fist came into contact, it was like chopping tofu with a knife. Feng Xian didn't even feel a trace of resistance. Chapter 462 Feng Xian, Fishmen are not humans. The space blade in his hand easily cut through the fisherman's arm, separating it from its owner. Snap, looking at his fist falling to the ground, the fisherman pirate moved his arm in disbelief. As a result, the next moment, the excruciating pain from the wound made him realize the reality. Ah! My hand, my hand. You bitch, I'm going to kill you. The fisherman pirate, who had been the overlord in the East China Sea and had been pampered for such a long time, had never suffered such a serious injury or such pain. For a moment, he rolled on the ground in pain. However, even though it hurt so much, the fisherman pirate still didn't spare anyone's words. While he was angrily spitting at Feng Xian, he also released murderous intent towards Feng Xian. Family members, I'm really speechless. By the way, do you want to take a look at your situation first, and then listen to what you are saying? You dare to threaten me when your life is in danger? When your mother gave birth to you, did she leave your brain in the placenta? Or are all the pirates in the pirate world such idiots with strong limbs and simple minds? Hearing the threat of the fisherman pirate, Feng Xian immediately complained in her heart. However, even though she changed her job to become a complainer, Feng Xian still did not forget her job. While complaining in her heart, she did not stop her hand's movements at all. She directly picked up the knife in her hand and chopped it down at the head of the fisherman pirate. The fisherman pirate was terrified when he saw Feng Xian's knife falling, but the pain from his body made him unable to dodge at all, so he could only wait for his neck to be killed. Punchy, with the sound of a sharp blade entering the flesh, a life was destroyed. Then, an ugly fishman head rolled down to Feng Xian's feet. Looking at the ugly head that rolled down to her feet, Feng Xian said with disgust, and then kicked it aside quickly. After doing everything, Feng Xian suddenly had a strange feeling in her heart. Is this what it feels like to kill someone? Why does it seem like there is no feeling at all? It's like picking a flower on the side of the road. I didn't feel the symptoms of nausea, vomiting, nausea, and dizziness mentioned in those novels. Boom! Just as Feng Xian was thinking, she was suddenly awakened by a burning sensation behind her. Looking back, a fisherman pirate who came to her side secretly and seemed to want to attack her was now entangled by a ball of dark flames. The temperature of the flame was very high. Even with the key and soul power as isolation, Feng Xian still felt a wave of scorching air surging out. In a moment, the fisherman pirate turned into ashes. With the death of the fisherman pirate, a voice also sounded in her mind. What are you doing? Are you going to die? You dare to be dazed on the battlefield?" Upon hearing this voice, Feng Xian immediately understood who had made the move. So while feeling lucky, there was also a little embarrassment in her heart, so Feng Xian smiled and said, "Hey, isn't this you, husband? Stop, 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 what were you thinking about just now, so absent-minded? Did you even feel someone approaching?" Hearing this, Feng Xian did not hide it and directly told Wu Tong her doubts. Hearing Feng Xian's doubts, Wu Tong was speechless. "That's it." Feng Xian was surprised and said, "Ah, what do you mean by that? Do you know the reason, husband?" Wu Tong said in a concise tone. "From what you said, you should have subconsciously not treated them as human beings at all, and regarded them as a kind of monster that can speak human language. That's why you didn't react at all after killing the fish man." "Ah, that it seems to be true." Hearing Wu Tong's explanation, Feng Xian reacted immediately. "It seems that she has never treated the fish man as a human being? It's mainly because of the appearance of the fish man. It's hard for her to treat them as human beings. Since they were not considered human beings, after killing them, naturally, they would not feel the feeling of taking away the lives of their own kind. Therefore, naturally, they would not feel disgusted." After realizing this, Feng Xian was relieved. "I was scared to death. I thought I was a natural killer. It's okay." While Wu Tong and Feng Xian were talking, the chaos in the dragon paradise finally came to an end. After all, everyone present was a strong man with extraordinary power. It was naturally no problem to deal with a small dragon pirate group. Even the weakest Nami used the awakened weather stick martial spirit to kill several fishmen. At this point, there was only one fishman left in the field, Fishman Arlong. The reason why he was left was not because everyone couldn't kill him, but because Nami didn't want him to die so easily. Therefore, in order to take care of Nami's emotions, everyone had to stop thinking about continuing to attack Arlong. When Aaron saw the way everyone looked at him as if he was looking at a trophy, he knew that he had completely failed. But Aaron didn't want to give up resistance so easily. He hadn't lived long enough, and he hadn't enjoyed enough of the extravagant life. How could he die? No, I don't want to die, I can't die, and I don't want to die in the hands of these lowly humans. Aaron lowered his head, and the unwillingness in his heart was like a surging undercurrent, gathering and surging in his heart, as if it would burst at any time. Think of a way, Aaron quietly raised his head and looked around. East, Wu Tong. West, Douluo Yezi, Jin Ringsu and others, Nanlik Xiang, Miracle Shizuka. South, 20 maids, Garp, Nami. North, Eden, Alicia, Nangguan Yun, Feng Xian. Wait, there seems to be a gap in the east. There's only one person guarding there, and this person seems to have a high status among this group of people. If we can hijack him." After noticing the distribution of people around, Aaron's heart was suddenly happy. The number of people stationed in the east is the least, only one, and compared with those powerful perverts in other directions, this person must be a pretty boy who can't carry anything. As for why Aaron thinks so, it's mainly because of that face, which is too much like the pretty boys raised by the nobles. Chapter 463 ends, the dragon pirates are destroyed. Moreover, this person did not attack in the battle just now, which means that his strength must be very weak and he has been in a protected state. So, if I use this person as a breakthrough point and hold him hostage to buy time for myself to escape, maybe I can really run away. When I thought of this, Aaron couldn't help it, and his body began to tremble with excitement. Although the principle of 1 effort, 2 declines, and 3 exhaustion has not been put forward in the pirate world, the principle is always the same. Therefore, Aaron naturally understands that after making a decision, he should act as soon as possible. Therefore, after making up his mind to attack Wu Tong, Aaron took action directly. I saw that Aaron took a step without any warning, and took advantage of the reaction force he applied to the ground. He immediately rushed to the east, towards Wu Tong. Others who saw Aaron running away and wanted to chase him stopped their actions immediately after seeing the direction and movement of Aaron's escape. They couldn't help but put a strange look on their faces. What's more, a few people looked at him, as if they were looking at a warrior. Aaron, who was rushing towards Wu Tong, naturally couldn't help but pay attention to the situation of others. So, after he saw the "you are so brave" expressions of the crowd, he was a little confused. What's going on? Instead of stopping me, they looked at me with such an idiotic look? Could it be that I guessed wrong? As soon as this thought came to his mind, Aaron's heart skipped a beat. If he really guessed wrong, then his current behavior would not be a trap for himself. When he thought of this, Aaron wanted to stop his actions, but because he rushed too hard just now, before Aaron could react in time, his body came to Wu Tong first. Hey, awesome, you actually want to use me as a breakthrough point, what are you thinking? Looking at Aaron who rushed in front of him, Wu Tong couldn't help but reveal a strange look on his face. He never thought that he would be found by someone just standing here? And he came to die on his own initiative. I have never seen such a person in my life. I went the wrong way. Can I go back? At this time, Along had come back to his senses from his previous thoughts. Looking at Wu Tong's strange expression, combined with the state of the others, he might have really miscalculated this time. He looked for a weakness but ended up finding a big father. Wu Tong didn't waste any words with him. He directly swung out 4 sword energies, separating Along's limbs from his body. Along, whose limbs were cut off, fell to the ground and let out a series of shrill wails. The sound was like the howling of ghosts and wolves, which made people want to laugh. There was no way. Everyone said, when they thought of the bad things Along had done and the experience of seeking death just now, they couldn't pity him. Okay, the dragon gang has been dealt with. Next, after dealing with the mice, this matter will be completely over. Nami, go to the village and notify the villagers. Let everyone come here to participate in the trial of Along and the mice. After all, they are also victims. If the culprit is tried, they should have the right to know. Wu Tong glanced at Along, who was lying on the ground wailing but had no power to resist, and then turned to Nami, who was crying with joy. Well, I'll go now. Nami wiped the tears that flowed from her excessive excitement, and replied in a trembling voice, trying to suppress her excitement. After that, she was not in the mood to care about other things, and she ran out to Kokoja village with her long legs. Alice Carp sighed, looking at the prosperous and luxurious building area of Dragon Paradise, and hated it in his heart. Although Arlong and his gang of pirates had been dealt with, he seemed to be able to see those suffering and oppressed people behind the prosperous ruins. Whenever he thought of this, his heart was in pain. If he had been more serious on weekdays, wouldn't the residents of these small islands have experienced such a thing? Wu Tong knew what Garp was thinking when he saw his expression. But this is normal. Although Garp looks unreliable, that's just his daily behavior. Apart from his shortcomings of being sentimental, he is essentially a peace-loving Navy, so after knowing that such a thing happened in the Navy, his mood would naturally not be good. So Wu Tong opened his mouth to comfort him. Okay, Uncle Garp, don't think so much, it's not your fault. The most important thing is the fault of the rat colonel who was in cahoots with Arlong. If it weren't for him, Arlong and his group of pirates might have been strangled by the Navy long ago. It has nothing to do with you, don't take everything on yourself. Garp didn't answer, but just looked at the surrounding environment quietly. Soon, about 10 minutes later, Bogart brought Colonel Mouse to Dragon Paradise. He tied up Colonel Mouse and Arlong together and threw them onto the temporary execution platform in the center. 10 minutes later, the villagers of Kokoja village also came to Dragon Paradise. After seeing the Dragon Paradise that had become a ruin, and Arlong and Colonel Mouse tied to the execution platform, all the villagers couldn't help but cheer with tears of joy. Wow, it's true, this is true, the dragon pirates are finally dead, God is so kind, ha ha ha, father, did you see it? The dragon pirates are finally destroyed, and you can finally rest in peace. Great, the dragon pirates are bankrupt, and we can finally be liberated, soon. In the excited and resentful eyes of the villagers, Dragon and Colonel Mouse also turned into 2 corpses under the trend of public opinion. After the 2 cancers, Dragon and Mouse, were dealt with, according to the convention of the pirate world, a grand and celebratory banquet would inevitably follow. And the fact was just as Wu Tong guessed. After nightfall, in order to celebrate the execution of Dragon Pirates and Colonel Mouse, Kokoja village immediately held a grand banquet, and all the villagers joined in. Chapter 464 Nami returns, New Wife 1. As heroes who solve these 2 cancers for the residents of Kokoja village and the nearby islands, Wu Tong and his group, as well as Garp, were naturally invited by the villagers to join in the grand celebration. They were reveled together. The banquet lasted until late at night, and then some people returned to their homes one after another. The next morning, the dawn was just beginning, and the sun was rising. A familiar yet strange ceiling. After opening his eyes, Wu Tong looked at the ceiling above his head, thinking of what happened last night, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The reason why it was strange was that this room was indeed the first time he came here. And the reason why it was familiar was naturally because at this moment, a delicate moan suddenly came from Wu Tong's side. Because of this reason, hearing this delicate voice, Wu Tong looked over, and a familiar orange hair suddenly came into view. What? Aren't you getting up yet? My little thief cat is going to become a lazy cat, right? Wu Tong couldn't help but tease Nami, who had woken up but still closed her eyes and nestled in his arms, refusing to get up. Hearing Wu Tong's teasing, Nami's pretty face suddenly blushed, and she couldn't help but think of what happened last night. She immediately buried her head in Wu Tong's arms and pretended to be dead. Looking at Nami's posture, Wu Tong chuckled. Last night, after the banquet, Wu Tong was planning to go out for a walk to sober up. Unexpectedly, as soon as Wu Tong left, Nami took the initiative to find him. As for the purpose, it was naturally to repay a favor and wanted to offer herself voluntarily. Wu Tong was not a saint like Liu Xiaohu, who could remain calm when a woman's arms were waving. When faced with a food that was delivered to her door, she would naturally not be polite. So, in this way, when the man was in love with a concubine, Wu Tong chose to give up the idea of going out for a walk without hesitation. Then, the two of them spent a wonderful night. They fell asleep in the early hours of this morning, and they woke up only now. As for why Nami suddenly chose to throw herself into his arms, although Nami did not say it, Wu Tong knew it very well. The gratitude that Nami mentioned was only one aspect. Although the routine of heroes saving beauties is very old, it is indeed very practical. After all, as a hero who saved the princess, it is natural for him to be favored by the princess. On the other hand, Wu Tong almost didn't need to guess. There was only one thing that Nami could do at a cost of her body, in addition to revenge and defending the village, which was to revive Belmare. Belmare, the adoptive mother of Nami and Nikigo. She used to be a navy, with a bold and unrestrained personality, firm and full of maternal love. She regarded Nami and Nikigo as her own daughters. Later, she was killed by Arlong to protect them. Wu Tong knew very well how firm Nami's feelings for Belmare were. In the past, Nami would not have such an unrealistic fantasy as resurrection of the dead. However, the fantastic life in the other world in the past few months made her understand that there are always people who are better than you. In their world, there is no means to revive life, but this does not mean that there are no means in other worlds. Moreover, it just so happens that Wu Tong controls this means. Therefore, after having tangible hope, it is almost impossible for Nami not to want to revive her adoptive mother. Therefore, driven by gratitude and the desire to revive Belmare, Nami chose to take the initiative to throw herself into Wu Tong's arms and become Wu Tong's woman. Thoughts turned back. Wu Tong came back to his senses, looked down at Nami who was still pretending to be dead in his arms, and couldn't help but patted her head with a smile, and said, "Okay, since you don't want to get up, then you should have a good rest. After all, you were last night, but up." Before Wu Tong finished speaking, Nami, who was blushing, covered her mouth directly. "Stop talking, you bastard, I'm going to get up. Isn't it okay for me to get up?" Seeing Nami's angry look, Wu Tong raised his hand to block Nami's little hand, and said with a smile, "Haha, just kidding, you just lost your virginity, just have a good rest today, I can't bear to let my baby suffer." After that, Wu Tong ignored Nami's reaction and leaned over to kiss her tempting red lips gently. Then, before Nami could come back to her senses, Wu Tong turned over and got out of bed, and quickly left the bedroom. After Wu Tong left, Nami, who had come back to her senses, looked at his back as he left, and immediately pounded the pillow beside her with a blushing face, and then buried her head in the quilt. After leaving Nami's room, Wu Tong came to the bathroom, and in the bathroom, after washing off the traces of last night, Wu Tong then changed into a white ancient-style robe and walked out of Nami's house. As soon as Wu Tong came out, a sarcastic voice sounded beside him, "Hey, isn't this my husband? You look so happy. Did you go to that sister's place last night?" Wu Tong looked sideways, and Feng Xian's jealous face suddenly appeared in front of Wu Tong. Seeing this, Wu Tong was not angry, but slowly walked to Feng Xian's side, directly stretched out his hand to hold her slender waist, and hugged her in his arms. Looking at Feng Xian's gradually red face, he teased, "Why do you suddenly care about this? Are you jealous? How dare I?" Although Feng Xian blushed, she was still unforgiving, and still said in a sarcastic tone, But judging from your appearance, you had a good time last night, right? I heard that the girl took the initiative to throw herself into his arms. Wu Tong didn't care much about Feng Xian's sarcasm. Feng Xian is just like this by nature. This kind of girl with a bitch personality can be thrown on the bed at night and taught a lesson. There is no need to be angry with her. It's true that you're doing well, but from what you said, you want to have a one-on-one fight with me tonight, right? Hearing this, Feng Xian was stunned. One-on-one? Are you kidding? She can't beat this beast who can easily fight a dozen people. No, okay, it's decided. Remember to leave the door open for me tonight. Wu Tong made the decision without waiting for Feng Xian to refuse. It is obvious that he has made up his mind to teach her a lesson. Seeing this, Feng Xian's face suddenly darkened. She now understands that this guy is doing it on purpose. So, Feng Xian gave up the resistance and was forced to acquiesce to Wu Tong's words. Chapter 465 Belmer's Resurrection. Afterwards, after chatting with Feng Xian, who had met by chance, and had been waiting for him, Wu Tong separated from her. After they separated, Wu Tong did not wander around, but went directly to the entrance of the village. He planned to find Aegean and ask about the location of Belmer's grave. That's right, Wu Tong was going to revive Belmer. After all, they had already guessed why Nami chose to be his woman, so Wu Tong naturally would not wait for Nami to take the initiative to bring up the matter. Since Nami had already handed her over to him, Wu Tong would also help her realize her wish, a family reunion. Anyway, this matter was just a piece of cake for Wu Tong, and it didn't take much effort. Soon, Wu Tong came to the entrance of the village and found Aegean, who was cleaning up the mess of last night's banquet, and told him his intention. After listening to Wu Tong's words, Aegean was stunned by Wu Tong's intention. Looking at Wu Tong in front of him, he shouted in disbelief, "What? You said you can revive Belmer?" "Yes." Wu Tong scratched his ears, and then continued, "Isn't this a very simple thing? Why are you so surprised?" "Haha, it's a very simple thing." Aegean was a little speechless by Wu Tong's Versailles. Very simple? How come he didn't know? However, thinking of what Nami said to them last night, Wu Tong and others are people from another world, Aegean stopped talking. What if the resurrection is really a sparse and ordinary thing in Wu Tong's world? If he refutes it, wouldn't it make him look very ignorant? Although he accepted this fact, Aegean thought for a while and added, "But Belmer seems to have been dead for nearly 10 years, right? That's more than 10 years. Even a piece of steel will rust in such a long time, not to mention a human. Belmer's body must have become a skeleton now, right? Even in this case, can it be resurrected?" "Yes, yes, okay, stop asking. Take me there quickly. You will see it in a while." Listening to Aegean's questions, Wu Tong rolled his eyes impatiently. "Isn't this too many questions? If I really asked you to lead the way, why don't you just lead the way? Why are you asking so many questions? 100,000 whys? If it weren't for wanting to give Nami and the others a surprise, I wouldn't bother to ask this guy for directions." Aegean also heard Wu Tong's impatient tone. After a moment of silence, he said helplessly, "Okay, come with me." There was no way. Although he was a little unhappy, the boy in front of him was not only a hero who saved the Kokosha village, but also a person who could revive Belmer. Even if this boy's attitude was bad, he dared not get angry. What if this boy was upset and he didn't plan to revive Belmer? Aegean didn't know at this time that Nami had been pushed by Wu Tong. Otherwise, his temper would not be so gentle. After saying that, Aegean took a step and walked out of the village. Seeing this, Wu Tong followed closely. Belmer's grave is on a small hill outside the village. Because the road is long and remote, there are few pedestrians on the road, and it can even be said that there are not many people. Of course, it may also be because the villagers are still immersed in hangovers and have not recovered. In short, when Wu Tong walked from the village to Belmer's grave, he did not meet a single person from Kokosha village. It took about 10 minutes. Wu Tong followed Aegean and finally arrived at the place where Belmer was buried. Looking at the small mound of earth in front of him and the cross on it, Wu Tong asked, "Is this small mound of earth Belmer's grave?" "Yes," Aegean nodded after hearing Wu Tong's words, and then stared at the small mound in front of him in a daze, and couldn't help but fall into his own thoughts. Wu Tong, who was standing aside, ignored Aegean, who was trapped in his own world. After getting Aegean's affirmation, Wu Tong looked at the small mound in front of him again and prepared to take action. Elemental authority, Earth control technique. With the power of the Shinto authority in his body, Wu Tong instantly mobilized it. The authority of the earth in this world was instantly usurped and controlled by Wu Tong. In an instant, it turned into the power in Wu Tong's hands. Then, Wu Tong raised his hand. Every grain of earth and stone in the small mound in front of him turned into soldiers who obeyed orders. Following Wu Tong's thoughts, they began to move their bodies and rushed down. Soon, the coffin that was originally buried below was brought up. After seeing the coffin that had appeared on the ground, Wu Tong stopped calling on the power of the earth and returned it to this world. Belmer, after looking at the coffin that emerged from the ground, Aegeon couldn't help but murmur. Seeing Aegeon's attitude, Wu Tong couldn't help but wave his hand helplessly and said, "Okay, don't miss it. After resurrection, there will be plenty of time to talk." After that, Wu Tong didn't care whether Aegeon listened or not, and walked directly to the location of the coffin. After arriving next to the coffin, Wu Tong reached out and grasped the lid of the coffin, gently exerting force. Then, there was only a click sound. The heavy coffin board turned directly into flying objects in the air and was thrown to the open space on the side by Wu Tong. After the coffin flew out, the corpse of Bellemere, who had turned into a pile of bones, was revealed. After seeing the corpse, Wu Tong did not hesitate and directly called the power of truth, rubbed out a resurrection coin and threw it on Bellemere. Then, a brilliant and dazzling milky white light column rose directly on the spot. In the village of Kokoja, Nami was lying on the bed, feeling the pain in her body. Instead of sadness, her face was covered with a happy smile. Squeak! With the sound of the door opening, Nikiko walked into the room. As soon as she entered the room, she saw Nami lying on the bed without having time to retract her smile. Seeing this, Nikiko couldn't help but teasing, "Hey, our little Nami has finally grown up." Nikiko hearing the voice of her sister Nikiko, Nami immediately came back to her senses, quickly put away the smile on her face, and her eyes couldn't help but wander. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466. Okay, stop pretending, I saw it all. Seeing Nami's attitude, Nikiko rolled her eyes and said a little depressed, "You are so stupid that you actually sold yourself out like this. Although I don't know what you think, since it is your decision, I can only bless you, but when I think about it, even you have already started a family, and I don't know when I will." Obviously, after being freed from the hands of the dragon pirates, Nikiko also returned to his original personality, and even had the mood to flirt with Nami. Nami, who was on the side, couldn't help rolling her eyes after hearing Nikiko's words like a grudge, and waved her hand to drive him away. Go away if you want to be naughty. This is not the place for you to complain." "Hey, don't, tell me, sister, how does it feel to do that?" Nikiko, as if he didn't understand what Nami meant, came to Nami with a playful smile, sat on the bed without any hesitation, and looked at Nami and said. But Nami couldn't say anything about that. Seeing Nikiko's shameless appearance, she was immediately angry and slapped the butt sitting on the bed. "Are you going to die?" "Nikiko, hey, you stinky girl, you dare to hit me, watch me." Nikiko was not willing to be slapped by Nami, and immediately rushed towards Nami. In this way, the two sisters laughed and played, and did not pay attention to the milky white light column rising in the village. Outside the village of Kokoja, at Bellemere's grave, the milky white light column was still bright and dazzling. However, even the most beautiful scenery will eventually wither. This resurrection light column is no exception. After a while, the light column dissipated. A woman wearing a green checkered shirt with the word mace printed on it, indigo trousers and brown sandals slowly walked out. The woman was slender, with gray eyes, and a head of dark red long hair, with very short hair on the temples. She looked a little weird, but she looked very capable. It was Bellemere, the adoptive mother of Nami and Nikiko. Bellemere, who had just been resurrected, was still a little confused about her situation, but when she saw a familiar person, Aegeon, she still showed a strong and bright smile. "Hey, Aegeon, we meet again. I didn't expect you to be dead too." Bellemere When Aegeon saw Bellemere looking at him, he was a little excited and was about to explain the situation. He was immediately silenced by Bellemere's words. Although Aegeon was silent, Bellemere was not silent. She looked at Aegean and asked questions one after another. How did you die? Is it the year of the sea circle calendar now? Have Nami and Nikiko grown up? Are they both okay now? Has the dragon pirates been destroyed? One question after another turned into a barrage of bullets and was output to Aegean crazily. Aegean, who was originally confused, suddenly became even more confused. Ha ha ha! Looking at this scene, Wu Tong couldn't help laughing out loud. Belmare's personality is exactly the same as in the plot. After hearing the laughter, Belmare noticed Wu Tong, who had been standing beside her. After seeing Wu Tong, Belmare asked in surprise, "Who are you?" "Hello, Aunt Belmare, I'm Nami's man, you can just call me Wu Tong." Wu Tong saluted Belmare and answered with a smile. "Ah, Nami's man." Belmare had a strange look on her face when she heard Wu Tong's words. In her impression, Nami was still a child of about 8 years old when she died. So when she heard that Nami now had a man, she automatically substituted her impression of Nami into it. In other words, at that moment, what Belmare was thinking about was that Nami, that 8-year-old girl, actually found a man who was so much older than her. "Aunt Belmare, you have been dead for more than 10 years, and Nami is now about 18 years old. The age difference between us is actually not that big." Looking at Belmare's weird eyes, as if looking at a pervert, Wu Tong was curious and couldn't help but use the power of consciousness. As a result, as soon as he used it, he heard Belmare's voice that could make Wu Tong vomit blood. This made Wu Tong speechless, and he quickly explained. Oh, Belmare didn't expect Wu Tong to be able to guess his thoughts. He was stunned for a moment, and then after choking a few times, he hurriedly nodded to show that he understood. But soon, Belmare realized that something was wrong. "By the way, since you are Nami's man, then you died young? Is Nami okay?" Wu Tong was speechless. After a moment, he shrugged and said, "Aunt Belmare, is there a possibility that the two of us are not dead?" But Belmare didn't believe Wu Tong's words. "Huh? You are not dead? Don't be kidding. If you are not dead, then how did you communicate with me?" At this time, Aegean had come back to his senses, and after hearing Belmare's words, he couldn't help but interrupted. "Oh, Belmare, the two of us are really not dead. The reason we can communicate is actually because you are resurrected." Resurrection? Belmare heard Aegean's words and immediately showed an expression of disbelief. How could there be such a thing as resurrection? "Aegean, did you damage your brain when you died?" "So," Wu Tong interrupted Belmare's complaints, "Aunt Belmare, let me tell you first. I believe that after listening, you will have your own judgment." Afterwards, Wu Tong told Belmare all of his problems, his origins, Nami's adventures, and Nami's experiences over the years. "So that's how it is. It seems that I am really resurrected." After patiently listening to everything Wu Tong said, Belmare finally discovered that he still had a heartbeat under Wu Tong's guidance, and finally accepted the reality that he had been resurrected. "I just didn't expect that Nami had such a hard life over the years." Chapter 467, A Joyful Reunion. However, when thinking about the efforts Nami had made for Kokoja Village over the years, Belmare's original joy for resurrection suddenly dissipated a lot. Seeing Belmare's sad look, Aegean couldn't help but comfort her. "Okay, Belmare, why are you so sad? We just dealt with the Arlong pirates, and Nami has her own destination. These are all good things. You should be happy." "You're right, Aegean, I should be happy." After hearing Aegean's comfort, Belmare adjusted her mood and then showed the two of them a signature smile. Then, Belmare cast her eyes to a certain place in Kokoja Village, and her eyes were full of endless tenderness and determination. "Little Nami, Mom is back." Afterwards, after regrouping, Wu Tong and the other two set off again and embarked on the journey back. Kokoja Village. At noon, the villagers who originally planned to continue the carnival for a few days and then return to their lives were now all in a strange silence. Just because they saw someone who should never be here. "That person is Belmare, right? Then what else? If not her, then Belmare. I really hope now that there is something wrong with my eyes." "Unfortunately, there is nothing wrong with your eyes, because I saw it too." "Is it really Belmare? But isn't she dead? Why don't you go up and ask?" "Oh, do you think I'm stupid? Why don't you go up?" "I'm scared." "Oh, look at what you said. Am I not afraid anymore?" "I think you should not be afraid of these things, right? Didn't you say that when we were drinking last time? How can you take drunken nonsense seriously?" "Hey, you kid." Listening to the discussion of the crowd, none of Wu Tong and the other two opened their mouths to explain, but just walked towards Nami's home in silence. After seeing this scene, The crowd on the side did not follow up to disturb the reunion of mother and daughter, but after watching for a while, they left directly. Outside Nami's room, Bellemere, who had just arrived here, chuckled when he saw the fruitful orange grove. It seems that these two little girls are not lazy. My orange trees are well taken care of, Bellemere said as he reached out and picked a few oranges from the orange tree next to him. He peeled the orange peel very skillfully, then broke off a tooth of the orange and put it directly into his mouth. Very sweet, and the taste is exactly the same as the one he planted at the beginning. It seems that this girl, Nikigo, has not forgotten the craftsmanship I once taught her. Thinking of this, Bellemere's eyes suddenly curved into a pair of crescents. After all, what can be happier than knowing that he has a pair of filial daughters? On the side, looking at Bellemere's extremely happy look, Wu Tong couldn't help but feel a little greedy. Without any nonsense, he reached out and picked an orange, peeled it, and put it into his mouth. After tasting it, Wu Tong nodded and praised, "Well, it's really good. It seems that Nikigo has a talent for planting. I think you should be able to try all kinds of spiritual plants when you go to my place in the future." Just as Wu Tong was speaking, Nikigo, who had heard the noise, also walked out slowly. Before seeing the person, you heard his voice first. Before the three saw Nikigo's figure, her voice came out first. "Who is outside?" "Hey, Wu Tong, you?" After seeing Wu Tong speaking, Nikigo was about to say something to use Wu Tong to tease Nami in the room behind her. But before she could say anything, Nikigo's voice stopped abruptly, just because she saw a familiar figure. The figure who was brutally killed by A Long because he protected her behind him when she was young. And Nami, who was still in the room, had just put on her clothes and was walking out. Hearing Nikigo's voice stop abruptly, she was also confused. What is this guy Nikigo doing again? Speaking out is always Nami's style. So Nami was not polite. As soon as she went out, she asked directly, "Nikigo, why are you talking halfway? What happened to Wu Tong?" Nami's originally puzzled voice, like Nikigo, suddenly stopped when she saw the familiar figure. The two women just stood there motionless, as if petrified, staring at the figure not far away. Wu Tong and Ajin watched the mother-daughter reunion with a smile on their faces. They didn't make any sound, for fear of disturbing the mother and daughter who had been reunited after a long separation. It was not until a long while later that the two women finally seemed to react. Looking at Bellemere's figure, they shouted in unison, "Bellemere, yes, it's me." Hearing the unbelievable words of Nami and Nikigo, Bellemere smiled and said, "Nami, Nikigo, I'm back. It seems that you are living well." Hearing the familiar voice in their memory again, the two women burst into tears and were overjoyed. Bellemere looked at the two girls and hurried forward to embrace them. "Nami, Nikigo, why are you crying? We are reunited again, we should be happy." Falling into this embrace again, the two girls immediately hugged Bellemere tightly, as if they were afraid that she would disappear again. "Oh, we are happy, of course we are happy. Oh, we missed you so much." Bellemere, feeling the strangling force coming from her body, Bellemere showed a forced smile. "I miss you too, but can you relax a little first? I am almost suffocated by you." Hearing Bellemere's words, Nami and Nikigo's crying voices suddenly froze, and then they quickly let go of Bellemere and pulled her to check themselves. They were afraid that Bellemere would have something wrong again. After a while, Bellemere, who had been checked over and over by the two women, finally spoke up to stop the two women's behavior. "Okay, it's just an exaggeration, it's not really an accident." Hearing this, the two women finally reacted, looked at each other, and smiled awkwardly. But soon, the two women hugged the woman in front of them again, but this time, the action seemed unusually gentle. Chapter 468 Time Flies, 7 Days of Development. Confucius said, "Time is like a flowing river, it never stops day or night." From the Analects translation, Confucius said, "People who come to seek death are like flowing water, they come and go day and night." Ahem, wrong. It should be Confucius standing by the river and sighing, "Time flows like a river, it never stops day and night," and the real time is just as Confucius said, "Time is like flowing water, it is fleeting." Including the day when they came to this world, the time Wu Tong and his party have been in the pirate world for about a week so far. Although a week does not sound very long, a lot of things have happened in this short period of time. Since that day, after helping the Nami sisters and Bellemere reunite, after Wu Tong and his party rested for a day, they set out on the journey of the pirate world again. At the same time, because Nami has become one of them, this trip also adds Nikiko and Belmare. Of course, there were also the shameless Garp and his party who followed Wu Tong's ship in a Navy warship, saying that they wanted to be Wu Tong's tour guide. That being said, Garp's thoughts could not be hidden at all, and everyone knew it well. He just wanted to follow Wu Tong first to see if he could win him over. However, although Garp had his own little thoughts, Wu Tong did not care. After all, he also wanted to recruit the Navy. If there was a Navy hero like Garp as a bridge to match, it would naturally be the best. In addition, with Garp there, Wu Tong would not have to do it himself to deal with pirates. This is pure gospel for a salted fish, right? Therefore, Wu Tong acquiesced to Garp and his party's following. 7 days is not a long time. Wu Tong and his party did not go far. In total, they visited places like Rogue Town, Upside Down Mountain and Whiskey Peak, and spent most of the rest of the time drifting on the sea. It must be said that life on the sea is really boring. If there were not a few blind little pirates who came to relieve their boredom occasionally, the girls might have been bored to death. However, this boring life is just right for Wu Tong. He even hopes that every day is like this. After all, every day is eating, sleeping, chatting, and sunbathing. It can be said that the life these days is exactly the salted fish life that Wu Tong has always dreamed of. Of course, 7 days is not short. At least during this period of time, Wu Tong and his party met several characters that appeared in the original plot. The world's #1 swordsman Hawkeye, Joracle Mihawk, Navy Admiral Buddha Sengoku, Princess of the Kingdom of Alabasta, Miss Wednesday of Baroque Works, Nefert D. Vivi O'Hara, Survivor, Devil's Child, Miss Oz Sunday, Nico Robin, and the future Admiral of the Navy who has not yet joined the Navy, Fujitora Yixio. With Garp's guidance, although Sengoku left relatively late, he was the first to meet Wu Tong. When in Rogue Town, Zanguo had already arrived and met Wu Tong. After the meeting, Zanguo wanted to win over Wu Tong and let Wu Tong join the Navy. However, with Wu Tong's excellent eloquence, he was persuaded to surrender after a few words. As for how to persuade him to surrender, Wu Tong said that it was mainly based on information asymmetry. First, take Zanguo to the universe, blow up a star at will, show his strength, and lay the foundation for cooperation, then give Zanguo a video of peace and stability in each world. A promise to assist in getting the world government, a promise to help fight pirates, and a big pie of infinite dimensions and infinite worlds in the future. After a set of combined punches, Zanguo was completely stunned by Wu Tong's sugar-coated bullets. Later, under the instigation of Garp, the insider, he accepted the subsystem of the Soul Network system and completely joined Wu Tong's camp. That's right, the insider Garp. As for when did Garp join? Isn't this even simpler? After all, compared to Sengoku, who relies on intelligence to make a living, Garp, who has no brains, is much easier to fool. On the 3rd day of Garp's stay on the ship, Wu Tong fooled Garp into becoming his own. However, even if he became his own, Sengoku did not stay for too long. After all, the work of the Navy Admiral was too much. In addition, he also wanted to test the views of the generals in the Navy on the world government, and planned to clear the obstacles before the war in advance. So, after joining Wu Tong's camp, he said goodbye and left without a few words. As for Fujitora Ichisho and Hawkeye Mihawk, Wu Tong also met them in Rogue Town. Fujitora Ichisho is a wanderer who travels around and participates in gambling. This time he appeared in the East China Sea, which was just a coincidence. Hawkeye came to the East China Sea specifically to challenge the mysterious swordsman, Wu Tong. He appeared in Rogue Town just to collect supplies for sailing on the sea. After all, during this period of drifting on the sea, the supplies on his ship have been consumed. Although supplies can be obtained by hunting pirates, the world is so big, how can Hawkeye encounter pirates every day? Therefore, with insufficient income, he can only come to Rogue Town to supplement. Wu Tong was also shocked when he saw these two people. However, after coming to his senses, he came up with the idea of recruiting them. After all, Hawkeye and Yixio, one is a pure swordsman and the other is a future admiral of the Navy, and there is no problem with their character. Plus they are strong. If he doesn't recruit them, Wu Tong is afraid that he will not let himself go. Collection addiction. So, after giving Fujitora a set of warring states set, Wu Tong subdued Fujitora. After a swordsmanship exchange with Hawkeye and satisfying Hawkeye's desire to fight, Wu Tong also used the brilliant swordsmanship of the heavens and the world as bait to hoist Hawkeye, the fish, onto his pirate ship. So far, Warring states, Garp, Hawkeye, Yixio, the top 4 combat forces in the pirate world, have been taken into Wu Tong's pocket. As for Wei Wei and Robin, they were captured by Wu Tong after he killed the bounty hunters at Whiskey Peak. Now they are working as maids on the ship. They are mainly responsible for providing various services, serious services, to Wu Tong and his group. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Wei Wei and Robin had no objection to this and obediently served as maids. Wei Wei and Robin, it's not that we don't want to resist, but we can't resist at all. A group of people with unknown strength, plus 3 general-level combat forces, Hawkeye, Garp, and Yixio, come on, tell me, how can we 2 weak women resist this scale? We can only accept it helplessly. Chapter 469, Shurigat is captured. As for now, Wu Tong and his party were riding on a boat, leisurely heading towards Alabasta. The sky was clear and the weather was fine. On this day, Wu Tong continued to lie on the beach chair at the bow of the boat and bask in the sun as usual. Suddenly, the sunlight that was originally shining on his body was covered by a cloud. Feeling the disappearance of the sun, Wu Tong frowned, then opened his eyes and rolled his eyes. Hawkeye, the battle maniac again. That's right, the person who came was Hawkeye, who had just joined Wu Tong's camp for a few days. Hawkeye frowned at Wu Tong's lazy look. After these days of getting along, he also discovered Wu Tong's true nature. If there is something important, Wu Tong may be more diligent, but if there is nothing important, this guy is just a salted fish who is too lazy to even turn over. When Hawkeye thought of the captain of the ship he had just joined, he felt a sense of confusion. It's not like he hasn't tried to persuade Wu Tong these days, but no matter how he persuaded, Wu Tong was still like this. So over time, Hawkeye was too lazy to continue talking. After all, he knew that no matter how much he persuaded, Wu Tong would be the same as usual, never admit his mistakes, never repent. So, Hawkeye didn't say too much nonsense, and directly pulled out a black knife behind him, Knight, and told Wu Tong the purpose of his visit. Come on, Captain, let's fight. Hiss. As expected, hearing Hawkeye's invitation, Wu Tong rubbed his eyebrows with a headache. When he watched anime before, why didn't he realize that Hawkeye was actually a fighting maniac? Since the day he defeated him, Hawkeye, as if he had awakened some kind of ex-fetish, had to come to Wu Tong to fight every day. Although he was the one who was beaten every day, Hawkeye was like Xiahou Chun possessed, fighting and losing again and again, and fighting again and again, which made him very annoyed. Wu Tong now even doubted whether it was the right decision to recruit Hawkeye. So, looking at Hawkeye's fighting look, Wu Tong rolled his eyes, then turned around and faced Hawkeye with his back. After doing everything, Wu Tong yawned and said lazily, "Get lost, I don't want to fight, come on, let's fight." Hawkeye heard it. As if he didn't hear Wu Tong's words, he moved his body directly, walked in front of Wu Tong and said. Looking at Hawkeye who appeared in front of him again, Wu Tong turned over again. Seeing this, Hawkeye hurriedly followed Wu Tong. So just like that, Wu Tong turned left and right, but couldn't escape Hawkeye's harassment. Finally, Wu Tong was annoyed by Hawkeye's pursuit and couldn't help but say, "Mihawk, please let me go. Didn't I promise you that I would let you go to other worlds in a few days to see the swordsmanship of other worlds? Why don't you let me go? If you really want to fight, why don't you go to find Mr. Yixio? He is also a great swordsman. Why do you have to find me? I really don't want to fight. I admit defeat, okay? You win." But no matter how Wu Tong cried and advised, Hawkeye seemed to have heard nothing. From beginning to end, he was like a piece of wood, staring at Wu Tong without saying a word. The meaning was very clear: don't talk to me about other things, I just want to fight you now. Fuck, this guy really deserves to be a swordsman. He has a stubborn temper. It really fits my old-fashioned impression of swordsman perfectly. Wu Tong looked at Hawkeye's stubborn look and rubbed his head with a headache. After a while, Wu Tong sighed and said helplessly, "Today is the last time. No matter what you say next time, I won't do it, okay?" Hawkeye answered casually, and then his figure flashed and disappeared on the boat. When he appeared again, he was already on a small island not far away. What a hammer! If you have the ability, just fulfill your promise. Don't always make verbal promises and say the same thing the next day. Looking at Hawkeye who turned around and ran towards the island without any delay, Wu Tong couldn't help but complain in his heart. After complaining, Wu Tong was about to leave for the island to deal with Hawkeye as soon as possible and then continue to rest. Suddenly, a soft voice came from Wu Tong's mind. "Master, you have a message from Mr. Kevin. Do you want to check it?" Wu Tong was not surprised to hear the sudden voice in his mind, because he was very familiar with the source of this voice. It was nothing else, it was the Soul Network system he built with his own hands. After hearing what SoulNet said, Wu Tong's expression suddenly became serious. He remembered that when he left Douluo realm, he told SoulNet not to disturb him unless it was something important. Now, since SoulNet violated his order and took the initiative to transmit the message, it means that the message sent by SoulNet is particularly important. Could it be that Kevin sent the important message? Thinking of a certain possibility, Wu Tong didn't want to play with Hawkeye anymore, and waved his hand and said, "List them directly." As soon as Wu Tong finished speaking, a virtual screen appeared in front of Wu Tong. After opening the screen, a series of messages suddenly sounded like crazy, beeping non-stop on his chat interface. However, Wu Tong ignored those messages. Instead, he opened the chat interface between himself and Kevin with ease. As soon as he opened it, a photo and a sentence appeared on the chat interface. "Instant Noodle Man, sure a god captive JPG. Instant Noodle Man, the guy you are waiting for has arrived." Wu Tong, looking at Kevin's nickname, Wu Tong was speechless. Kevin, hasn't he returned the nickname that Alicia made out of a prank? Forget it, these are small matters, as long as he is happy. Feng Qi Wu Tong, God sure was caught? When did it happen? Instant Noodle Man, just now, this guy suddenly appeared outside the academy, ready to rush in, and then I knocked him out. Feng Qi Wu Tong, awesome, Kevin is really worthy of it. Okay, since he has been caught, some things should have an ending. Wait a minute, I'll be back soon. After replying to Kevin, Wu Tong exited the chat with Kevin. Then he opened a chat group called Pirate World Travel Group. Feng Qi Wu Tong, except for Sengoku, everyone gather for a meeting. Chapter 470, Arrangements for the Afterlife. Feng Qi Wu Tong, add everyone. As soon as Wu Tong sent a message in the group, everyone immediately felt the abnormal movement of the Soul Network system. When they opened it, they found that it was Wu Tong who was in the group, issuing a call for action. Seeing this, everyone responded one after another. The Flawless Person, got it, salute. The Golden Rich Woman, got it Hawkeye, okay, I'll be back soon. Navy Hero, haha got it, I'll be back soon. Fugitora, I'll be back soon too. After seeing everyone reply, Wu Tong waved his hand with satisfaction and dispersed the virtual panel. Then, on the deck of the bow, he built a round table and chairs that could accommodate everyone. After doing all this, Wu Tong sat on a chair and quietly waited for everyone to arrive. After Wu Tong issued the call for action. Except for Zango, who was too far away and had official duties, all the other recruited people, as well as the women brought by Wu Tong, also rushed to the ancient wooden ship together. Soon, everyone came to the deck of the ship. After seeing everyone arrive, Wu Tong said, "Okay, sit down, I have something to say." After hearing this, although everyone was confused about what it was, they still listened to Wu Tong's words, found a seat at random, and sat down. After everyone sat down, the discussion began to sound. Alicia asked first, "What happened? Wu Tong, why did you call everyone here?" Wu Tong opened his mouth slowly. "About a matter in Douluo realm, the Azure god showed up and was captured by Kevin." Nanrika was overjoyed when she heard this. "In that case, the coordinates of the god realm are in hand." Wu Tong nodded and said without comment, "So next, I need to go back and deal with the matters in the god realm. I'm afraid I won't have time to travel with you guys anymore. You can enjoy the rest of the journey by yourselves." Hearing this, Feng Xian expressed her understanding. "To resist foreign aggression, we must first stabilize the country." "I understand. Go ahead and don't worry about us." Hearing Feng Xian's words, Wu Tong rolled his eyes and said, "Come on, you have those things I left behind, and I'm worried about you? I might as well worry about those who provoke you." After that, Wu Tong no longer paid attention to the reactions of the girls, but turned his attention to the remaining three people: the Admiral-level combat power, Fugitora Yixiro, the world's #1 swordsman, Hawkeye Mihawk, who is a Vice Emperor-level warrior, the Navy hero, Garp, who is a General-level warrior. These three people, plus the faraway General-level warrior, Navy Admiral Sengoku, and two maids who made up the numbers. These 6 people are the talents Wu Tong recruited during this trip. However, 3 of the 6 people were unable to go for various reasons. Robin and Vivi were stopped by the girls and wanted to travel with them, while Sengoku was unable to go because of his busy official duties. In the end, only Hawkeye, Yixio and Garp were left, wondering whether they could leave. The reason Wu Tong summoned everyone was not only to explain that he was leaving. Another purpose was to ask about the plans of these 3 people. What are your plans for the 3 of you? Are you going to the Douluo realm with me, or are you going to stay in this world? Wu Tong's question came out as soon as it came out. The 3 of them immediately gave their answers. Yixio, I'll go with you. After listening to what you said, I've always been interested in the scene order of another world. Hawkeye, let's go together. I want to see the swordsmanship of the other world and ask for advice. Garp, ahaha, of course I will go with you. The other world sounds very interesting. I must go and see it carefully. As soon as Garp finished his answer, Wu Tong had no time to react, and Bogart's voice followed. Vice Admiral Garp, you can't go. You still have a mission. If you go, Marshal Sengoku will go crazy. Garp shook his head, as if he didn't care about Sengoku's anger at all. Tisk, what are you afraid of? Don't worry, it's not like I haven't done it before. At worst, I can go and take a look and come back. This is a different world. Vice Admiral Garp, you, dilly-lee-lee. Before Bogart finished speaking, Sengoku's Den Mushi called directly. After the call was connected, the Den Mushi immediately changed into the appearance of Sengoku. Then, Sengoku's voice came over. Garp, you old bastard, you are not allowed to go. After Wu Tong and the others go back, you will be responsible for protecting Miss Alicia and the others, and by the way, complete the task assigned to you some time ago. Did you hear that, Garp? Listening to Sengoku's endless chatter, Garp's mouth grinned and suddenly revealed a familiar smile. On the other side, Sengoku saw this smile through the Den Mushi. It's bad. Every time this old guy shows this smile, nothing good is going to happen. And the development of things is really as he expected. The next moment, Garp's voice came out of the Den Mushi. Hey, Sengoku, can't you just leave the mission to Bogart to solve it? You know his strength, he can definitely complete the task. As for Miss Alicia and the others, their strength is stronger than mine. They don't need my protection at all. In the past few days, although Garp has not seen Alicia take action, he is not blind. In the chat forum of the Soul Network system, there are many discussions about the combat power of the 13 heroes of Chasing Fire. As the second most powerful among the 13 heroes of Chasing Fire, Alicia must be the best. So with just a little thought, you can infer that Alicia's strength is far above yours. If she really stays, I don't know whether I will protect them or they will protect me. Garp. Listening to Garp's sophistry, Zanguo's face suddenly darkened. Doesn't he know about this? How is it possible? Even Garp can notice this. How could he, as a wise general, not know it? Then the question is, since he knows the combat power of Alicia and others, why did Zanguo go to such trouble to let Garp protect Alicia and others? Of course, it's to show off and show himself. After all, sometimes, people always have to learn to observe words and expressions and try to show their value. Only in this way can they be appreciated by their superiors in the workplace. Chapter 471. Return to Douluo. If he hadn't been distracted, he would have thought of coming here himself, but there was no way. Sengoku said, he really couldn't leave, so he wanted Garp to show himself. But who knew that this old man Garp actually threw his kindness directly to the ground? This is simply, I am so angry. Just when Sengoku wanted to get angry, the Den Mushi in his ear suddenly made a beep beep sound at this moment. This is Garp. You bastard, you hung up on me again. Listening to the busy tone coming from his ear, Sengoku, who is already furious, was so angry that white smoke came out of his head. It is conceivable how angry Sengoku was this time. On the other side, after making a few random remarks and retorting Sengoku back, Garp quickly hung up the Den Mushi and threw it to Bogart on the side. Then, facing everyone's strange gazes, Garp grinned and laughed. Haha, no one can stop me now, I'm coming to the other world. Listening to Garp's voice full of expectation and desire, everyone couldn't help but shake their heads helplessly. Sure enough, Garp really deserves the evaluation of being simple-minded and well-developed. If you hang up Sengoku's phone directly, aren't you afraid that you will be liquidated by Sengoku when you return to the Navy headquarters? This guy doesn't seem to be afraid. Then, seeing that nothing was wrong, Wu Tong looked at the 3 people who were expecting, and said directly, okay, Since you have decided, let's go directly. After that, Wu Tong didn't hesitate anymore, waved his hand and opened the dimensional door to the Douluo world, and motioned to the three people, let's go. 3. Hearing this, the three people who were originally curious immediately prepared to leave. Beep beep. At this time, the Den Mushi and Bogart's hand rang again. Upon hearing this voice, Garp did not hesitate at all and directly did something completely out of instinct. He immediately took a step and rushed towards the dimensional gate. He didn't even need to guess the voice. As soon as he heard it, he knew that it was Zanguo who came to ask for punishment. So if he didn't run now, when would he run? Seeing Garp's series of actions, the others couldn't help but shake their heads and smile bitterly. This old naughty boy. Then, Wu Tong, Ye Xiao and Hawkeye also followed into the portal. After Garp left, Bogart listened to the beeping sound from the Den Mushi in his arms. After a moment of silence, he still picked up the Den Mushi, Marshal Zanguo. This is Bogart. Zanguo on the other side didn't hear Garp's voice, and felt something was wrong. He quickly asked, where's that old bastard Garp? Bogart stopped talking for a while, and then told Zanguo the truth. Marshal Zanguo, Vice Admiral Garp, he has gone to another world, although Bogart's words sounded easy to be misunderstood. But Zanguo, who had just listened to the meeting, was not misled by this sentence. After hearing that Garp had left this world, Sengoku immediately understood what Bogart meant. Garp should have traveled to another world. Thinking of this, Sengoku felt his heart pounding. This old man, just when Sengoku was about to curse Garp, he remembered that Garp was not there at all, and he could not hear him. So, Sengoku's swear words, which had nowhere to erupt, turned around in his chest, and finally, he could only turn into a helpless sigh. Well, forget it, since Garp has left. Then the task of guarding is handed over to you. As for Garp's task, we can only find someone else. Listening to Sengoku's instructions, Bogart immediately stood at attention and saluted. Yes, Marshal Sengoku, damn it, when he comes back, I will make this guy pay. After instructing Bogart on the arrangement, Sengoku hung up the Den Mushi with a curse. On the other side, Douluo world. The gate of the academy. A transparent black dimensional door suddenly appeared in front of the gate of the academy. Some students who were coming in and out were awe-startled. However, after seeing the figure coming out of the dimension door, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It was because one of the figures who came out was their wise and powerful dean. After Wu Tong led the three people out of the dimension door, he turned his head and looked at the three people and said, if you want to do something next, go by yourself. If you don't know the way, just ask someone. I'll go first. Hearing Wu Tong's words, the three people were stunned at first, and then they immediately thought that Wu Tong came back for something. So the three people waved their hands and said, Wu Tong, you go and do your thing. Don't worry about us. We can do it ourselves. Wu Tong nodded, then called a student who was stunned next to him, and after giving a few instructions to the student, he hurriedly walked towards the security room not far away. Entering the security room, Wu Tong saw Kevin sitting on a chair waiting for him. After seeing Kevin, Wu Tong did not hesitate and asked directly, Kevin, where's Shurigod? Wu Tong was now impatient to see the Shurigod, who was not very capable but had a bad temper. Behind you. Hearing Wu Tong's question, Kevin motioned Wu Tong to look back expressionlessly. Behind me. Wu Tong scratched his head and turned to look. No, Kevin added expressionlessly, behind the door. Speak faster next time. Wu Tong silently complained in his heart. Then, Wu Tong closed the door of the security room. It revealed Shurigod, who was wearing blood-red divine armor, but was unconscious and tied up. Tisk, don't say it, although his strength is not very good, but this appearance is really amazing. Looking at Shurigod's outfit, Wu Tong couldn't help but praise it. No matter what Shurigod's strength and temper are, at least his aesthetics are really amazing. After all, the appearance of this Shurigod's outfit is really handsome. Okay, I'll leave the person to you. It's time for me to get off work. After seeing Wu Tong had received the express delivery, Kevin didn't plan to stay any longer. Logically speaking, it wasn't his shift today. If it weren't for the invasion of the Shurigod, he should be resting at home now instead of being forced to work overtime here. Now that Wu Tong is here, his mission is naturally completed. So, Kevin didn't want to stay any longer. Hearing Kevin's words, Wu Tong nodded without looking back. Okay, Kevin, you go. Chapter 472, The Shurigod Falls, Obtaining the Coordinates of the God Realm. After getting Wu Tong's response, Kevin did not hesitate and stood up and left the security room. After Kevin left, a Kevin doll also came out of the cabinet next to it. He sat on the chair in the security room and began to take on today's security work. Wu Tong looked at this scene and was not surprised. Although he had not been out much some time ago, he was still very clear about the shift system of Kevin dolls, Kevin and Kevin dolls, made by Alicia. Therefore, Wu Tong had already guessed about Kevin's actions. Therefore, he simply ignored it. He got? Ridiculous. After Kevin left, Wu Tong looked at the still unconscious Shurigod in front of him and chuckled with sarcasm. Then, he raised his hand to Shurigod. Order authority, order of heaven and earth. The power of the order authority was instantly called upon, and the order power that spread between heaven and earth and controlled the order of heaven and earth in the dark instantly covered Shurigod. Then, Wu Tong clenched his fingers lightly. The originally calm and indifferent power of order, in an instant, turned into countless violent blades, and began to rage wildly on the body of Shurigod. In a short moment, the violent power of order directly decomposed Shurigod lying on the ground into countless quark-level elementary particles that were invisible to the naked eye. Of course, only Shurigod disappeared, and the things of Shurigod were still intact on the ground. For example, the Shurigod seat that had been abandoned, the handsome Shurigod suit, the Shuridemon sword that was specially retrieved in order to increase the chance of winning, the coordinates of the God Realm. It can only be said that there are many things dropped by the boss Shurigod, but among these things, only the coordinates of the God Realm are useful to Wu Tong. The other things are simply garbage to Wu Tong. If it weren't for the coordinates of the God Realm, Wu Tong wouldn't even bother to look at these garbage. Wu Tong looked at the boss dropped on the ground with a look of disgust, and then reached out to take the coordinates of the God Realm into his hand. Then he put all the remaining things into the Soul Network system, and added several new exchange items to the Soul Network system's exchange mall. The coordinates of the God Realm are finally in hand. After getting the coordinates of the God Realm, Wu Tong felt the newly engraved coordinates on the dimension door and couldn't help but sigh. After waiting for half a month, it was finally not in vain. The coordinates of the God Realm are finally in hand. The next step is naturally to deal with the God Realm. When he thought of the gods in the original work, who regarded mortals as ants and looked down on the world from a high place, they would soon become the dead souls under his knife. Wu Tong's excitement was a little difficult to suppress. He wanted to rush to the door right now and slaughter all those so-called gods. However, Wu Tong quickly suppressed the boiling desire in his heart. It was not that he was reluctant or changed his mind. It was no, how can there be no audience for such an important occasion? That's right, Wu Tong planned to broadcast the demise of the God Realm live. In the Dimension chat group reminder, Group Administrator Seeker has opened the live broadcast room. Please watch the most beautiful fireworks in history. Everyone come and enjoy it. Hearing this sudden reminder sound, the group members who were chatting were all stunned. Hungry Dragon roar, oh, look at the fireworks, look at the fireworks. Bully Spider, fireworks? Is it the fireworks I think? Red Kite Immortal, it shouldn't be. Lazy Angel, this is definitely not what you think. If it is that kind of fireworks, do you still need to open the live broadcast? Mortal Leaf, if it is not ordinary fireworks, then what kind of fireworks can it be? Mortal Leisure, oh, fireworks. Looking at the title of the live broadcast room and the discussion of everyone, Zhongli suddenly felt a bad feeling in his heart. This feeling is like that red figure, Alice, appeared in Liu again. When he thought of that woman, Zhongli immediately thought of the fireworks she mentioned. Thinking of that woman, she called the explosion that could blow up the Wind Dragon ruins of fireworks. Zhongli's eyes inexplicably had a bit of strangeness. Could the fireworks be what I thought? In the Dimension chat group, Dragon King Spray Water, did old man Zhongli guess something? Chenchi Zianio, I have some ideas, but I'm not sure. Puyeo Billion, it doesn't matter, anyway, everyone is guessing now. Puyeo Billion, old man, just tell everyone. Chenchi Zianio, Alice likes to call explosions big fireworks. Seeing the message sent by Zhongli, all the people who were guessing immediately reacted. Mortal Leaf, old man, are you saying that Brother Tong is going to show us a big explosion? Don't bully young people who are poor. Hiss, with Brother Tong's strength, he can be called the most beautiful fireworks. Don't bully young people who are poor. Could it be that he is going to explode the stars? Dragon King Spray Water, explode the stars. Bully Spider, explode the stars. Huishan Gentleman Sword, explode the stars. Professor Oak, explode the stars. After hearing Xiao Yan's guess, everyone except Zai immediately became alert. After all, that was a human-powered star explosion. Who of them has ever seen such a scene? They must be alert and watch it carefully. Don't bully the poor young man, it's just a guess. Xiao Yan looked at the reactions of the crowd and hurriedly explained. It's a precautionary measure in advance. If Brother Tong's performance is not a star explosion, there is a reason to explain it. After all, he doesn't want to be criticized by others. Meng Wang, okay, don't guess, just go in and take a look. As soon as Rimuru said this, he immediately reminded everyone, yes, there is time to guess. It is better to go into the live broadcast room and ask directly. Anyway, Wu Tong will not hide it. So, everyone rushed into Wu Tong's live broadcast room. Welcome group member, don't bully the poor young man, to the live broadcast room. Welcome group member Hushin Gentleman Sword to the live broadcast room. Welcome group member Fanjin Yi to the live broadcast room. Soon, all the members in the Dimension chat group rushed into Wu Tong's live broadcast room. However, as soon as they entered the live broadcast room, before they had time to speak, they were shocked by the scenery in front of them. Endless stars, a sky full of stars, brilliant and gorgeous star belts, mysterious endless sea of stars, and the man in a dark black robe, standing in the center of the stars, covered in rosy clouds, standing with his hands behind his back, bathing in the starlight, as if turning the endless sea of stars into a background. Wu Tong. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473, Live Broadcast of the Countdown to the Destruction of the Divine World. It has to be said that this extremely shocking scene really gave everyone a big surprise. Don't despise the poor young man. Hiss, this is, in the universe? Brother Tong would actually appear here? I'm afraid I guessed it right, Fanjin Yi. It's hard to say, but the possibility is indeed very high. After all, Brother Tong's posture really gives people the feeling that he is ready to blow up the stars. Photographer, wow, this scene, this picture, the location Wu Tong chose has good lighting. I have to take a picture quickly. Click, passerby. Hey, are you really going to blow up the stars for fun? Is Wu Tong so idle? Dragon King spraying water, woo. I also want this kind of idle life. Mortal leisurely wandering, ominous premonition, hungry dragon roaring. Wow, it's beautiful, but Kana still wants to see the fireworks. Huashin Gentleman Sword, the four directions above and below are called the universe. The past and the present are called the universe. Is this the universe and the galaxy above the sky? It is really as our ancestors guessed, mysterious and fantastic. Cute king, wow, what a beautiful starry sky. I never thought that one day I would be able to observe the starry sky from such a close distance. Listening to the discussion in the live broadcast room, Wu Tong ignored it and took action first. He adjusted the camera in the live broadcast room and pulled himself and Shangxing, who is not far below, into the range of the live broadcast room. After doing all this, Wu Tong greeted the camera with a bright smile on his face and said, "Hi, everyone, did you miss me? Don't ask how sound is transmitted in a vacuum. It's a fantasy world and the laws of physics can't control it." Dragon King spraying water, Wu Tong, don't destroy the perfect image of Alicia in my mind. Photographer, I just saw her a few days ago. Don't bully the young and poor. Brother Tong, what are you doing in the universe? Are you going to show everyone a star blasting show? Bully Spider, oh, long time no see. Brother Tong, listening to what everyone said, Wu Tong waved his hand and said, now, don't worry about those little things, everyone. Focus all your attention on today's fireworks show. Xiao Yanzi guessed right. Today I'm going to show you a planet bomb and super fireworks. Believe me, that scene will definitely be shocking enough. In the live broadcast room. Dragon King spraying water, are you so idle now? How about we switch lives? I also want to experience what it feels like to be idle and have nothing to do. Don't bully the young and poor. Oh my god, I really guessed it right. I am so awesome. Don't bully the young and poor. Ahem, please call me the Great Prophet from now on. Lazy Angel, Great Prophet, can you help me see how to make my sister's clone disappear reasonably? Don't bully the young and poor. This is none of my business. I am only responsible for Predictions Cup. Then Great Prophet, Can you help me see tomorrow's lottery numbers? Don't bully the young and poor, okay? I was wrong. Please let me go, everyone. Ha ha ha. After teasing the inflated Xiaoyan for a while, everyone shifted their attention to Wu Tong in the live broadcast room again. Dragon King spraying water, then Wu Tong, is the planet below the one you are going to blow up later? Fan Chen Yi, impossible? This planet has mountains, water, clouds and seas. It is obviously a life planet that can support human survival. How could Brother Tong blow up such a planet? Hearing the conversation between the two, Wu Tong's smile was still bright, and he said with a smile, the group leader guessed right. My performance prop today is the planet below. Hearing Wu Tong's reply, the group was in an uproar. Fan Chen Yi, it's really this planet. Fan Chen Yi, what a waste. Don't bully the poor young man. A life planet, it would be great if it was given to me. Brother Tong is really wasting it. Tragedy. If it's a dream, it's better to leave it until the evening. It's still daytime now. Tragedy. Although I don't know why Brother Tong chose to blow up this planet, Brother Tong must have his reasons for doing so. Tragedy. Brother Tong, I support you. After listening to Ji Bachen's words, everyone reacted, yes. Wu Tong, who never does business without capital, now suddenly chooses to blow up this planet. There must be some unknown secrets in this. Thinking of this, everyone stared at the screen in the live broadcast room. They carefully observed the planet not far away, ready to explore the reason why Wu Tong chose to blow up this planet. While everyone was observing carefully, Gabriel, who always had sharp eyes, suddenly seemed to see something and hurriedly asked in the live broadcast room. Lazy Angel, hey Wu Tong, if I'm not mistaken, there seems to be traces of human life on the planet below. After hearing Gabriel's news, the smile on Wu Tong's face suddenly became brighter. After laying the groundwork for so long, it's finally time to reveal the secret. I'm really looking forward to their reactions. So Wu Tong admitted without hesitation, yes, Xiao Ji's eyes are still so powerful. There are indeed people living on the planet below. Everyone, what? As soon as Wu Tong said this, the group friends in the live broadcast room looked at each other. They didn't doubt Wu Tong. After all, after such a long time of getting along, they were confident that they knew Wu Tong very well. Although Wu Tong couldn't be called a good person, he wasn't the kind of bad guy who took pleasure in killing innocent people. Moreover, even if Wu Tong really wanted to massacre, he wouldn't broadcast it live. Would that be shooting himself in the foot? Therefore, Wu Tong must have some deep meaning in doing this. Thinking of this, everyone guessed Wu Tong's intentions in their hearts. While everyone was guessing in their hearts, Wu Tong's heart was filled with joy. Ask me what the planet below is. 2,000 years later, after waiting for a long time and hearing no one asking, Wu Tong immediately became a little impatient and asked directly, I said, I want to blow up a planet with life on it. Don't you have anything to ask? Buyao Bilian, Brother Tong, your meaning is a bit obvious. Chapter 474, The Destruction of the God Realm. Don't bully a poor young man. Yes, originally everyone was still guessing the reason why you blew up the star. Don't bully a poor young man, but since you suddenly did this, we don't even have to guess. After all, you almost wrote your thoughts on your face. Wu Tong was reminded by the two people, and the smile on his face froze. Is he so obvious? Dragon King spraying water, okay, just say it directly. I'm too lazy to guess. Okay, then I'll just say it directly. Being humiliated and disappointed, coupled with Guru Li's urging, Wu Tong was in no mood to continue beating around the bush. So Wu Tong spread his hands and told everyone in the live broadcast room the truth about the planet below. The world below is the God Realm. Buyao Bilian, God Realm? Is there a God Realm in the pirate world? Zhang Chulin, whose brain had not yet reacted, asked with a puzzled look after hearing Wu Tong's words. Fanjin Yi, that's obviously not the case. Fanjin Yi, but Brother Tong didn't say this is the pirate world, right? Moki Xiaoni Anqiong, if it's not the pirate world, then it must be the Douluo world. After all, it seems that only this world has the God Realm. But Brother Tong, when did you go back? Wu Tong nodded, and then explained, I just came back not long ago. I was planning to continue wandering around the pirate world, but I didn't expect the Azure God to take the initiative to deliver a courier to my door. Buiao Billion, delivering a courier. Wu Tong curled his lips and motioned everyone to look at Shangsing and said, here are the coordinates of the God Realm. Buiao Billion, oh that's no wonder. If it were me, I would definitely come too. Moki Xiaoni Anqiong, wake up, You don't have that strength, Buiao Billion, Dragon King spraying water, huh? I thought it was something else, it turned out to be the God Realm. Then blow it up quickly. I've been displeased with those gods for a long time, Fanchen Yi. The God Realm is exploding, it must be beautiful, right? Hungry Dragon roars, Kana wants to see fireworks, tragedy, Brother Tong of the Douluo God Realm should explode quickly. When I heard the God Realm, the person the way to death popped up in my mind. As soon as Guruli said this, the group members began to echo it. Obviously, they didn't have much good feelings for the god who liked to be above many worlds and seemed to be high above. Okay, you tell me, I'll do it. Hearing the urging words of the crowd, Wu Tong didn't hesitate, and answered with a smile. Then he turned his head and looked at the God Realm not far away. I let you live a few more minutes, you should be satisfied. Then next, it's time to say goodbye to the false gods. After that, Wu Tong didn't waste any more time. His expression became serious, and a powerful momentum suddenly burst out from Wu Tong's body. The huge momentum of the Sixth Order mid-stage strongman was raging wildly in the star field. The aura, like an abyss or a prison, instantly turned into a huge gravitational field, causing the surrounding stars to tremble. Time Authority plus Space Authority. Time and Space Barrier. After releasing the momentum in the body and reminding the God Realm below, Wu Tong called on the divine power in the body and linked the power of the divine authority. In an instant, he set up a time and space barrier. The entire God Realm was completely covered in it. Buyao Bilion, 6, Brother Tong is so domineering. Brother Tong is awesome, lazy angel. Is this the combat power of the Sixth Order galaxy level? Just by momentum, he can shake the galaxy. It's really terrifying. Dragon King spraying water, space-time barrier? Can this trap him? Don't bully the poor young man, it shouldn't be a problem. After all, in the original book, didn't the God Realm also have no way to deal with this space-time turbulence? They are all the power of space and time, so they should be about the same. Buyao Bilion, that's true, but when I think of those so-called gods who can't even deal with space-time turbulence, I feel like laughing. While everyone was playing and joking, the gods in the God Realm below had already discovered that they were trapped. They all began to try to attack the space-time barrier, wanting to break it and have a good talk with Wu Tong. But unfortunately, they had the idea of talking, but Wu Tong didn't. At this time, Wu Tong had already thought of the way to destroy the God Realm, being able to perish with the sun. The God Realm can be considered to have died a worthy death. Looking at the God Realm below, Wu Tong chuckled and then opened a dimensional door. On the other side of the door, there was a star that was burning brightly, with a scorching and violent energy on the surface surging wildly and exploding in all directions. This star is good, it will soon enter the stage of supernova, just in time to use it for waste. Don't worry, you can be a helper in destroying the God Realm, and your ending will definitely be brilliant, Wu Tong said as he looked at the star with crazy surging energy and restlessness. The people in the live broadcast room were stunned after hearing Wu Tong's words. They were not surprised that Wu Tong could control the sun. After all, a strong man in the middle stage of the 6th level is a veritable galaxy-level strong man, and it is not uncommon to achieve this level. What puzzled everyone was, why did the group of gods in the God Realm who didn't know what they were doing end up with a star that illuminated the universe and worked hard and dedicatedly? So everyone started to discuss it. The Dragon King sprayed water, using a star to perish together with the God Realm? Isn't that too much of a compliment to them? Don't bully the poor young man. Yes, Brother Tong. Besides, the God Realm is not worthy of it at all. In the perception of everyone in the group, Wu Tong's casual attack can directly destroy the God Realm. If that's the case, why do we need to pull a star? Isn't this a waste of effort? Of course, more importantly, are the gods in the God Realm really worthy of perishing together with a star? Wu Tong had anticipated the questions of the group members, so after the group members asked the questions, Wu Tong explained, of course they are not worthy, but I am not doing this just to destroy them. Everyone, huh? Everyone was directly confused by Wu Tong's explanation. Do you want to see what you are talking about? Not just to destroy them? Why does this sentence feel so strange when it is said to you who are about to use a star to attack? Wu Tong ignored the interruptions and continued, have you forgotten the title of the live broadcast, Big Fireworks? The destruction of the divine world is not the most beautiful fireworks. I do this to give everyone a good visual experience. Dragon King spraying water? No, are you serious? Chapter 475, Spear of the Sun, Cosplay Karna. Dragon King sprays water? I thought that was just a title. Don't shake the lotus, it's not a shock party, but you plan to be realistic? 6. The shock department needs honest people like you, Brother Tong. Don't bully the poor young man. No wonder, I was quite confused at first, but now I hear your explanation, Brother Tong. I immediately understand. Hungry dragon roars. Oh, big fireworks, big fireworks. Kana wants to see big fireworks. After explaining to the group friends, Wu Tong stopped talking. After all, the next moment is a solemn moment witnessing the birth of a planet-level super-large fireworks. When Wu Tong thought about solving the not-so-small trouble of the God realm, he felt an urge to be impatient. Then, in the expectant eyes of everyone in the live broadcast room, Wu Tong took action. Looking at the God realm below, Wu Tong shouted, "Zha!" Then, a majestic and unfathomable divine power instantly spread from Wu Tong's body. In midair, it turned into a huge invisible net, covering the star on the other side of the dimension gate. This large net formed by divine power seems thin and fragile. But in fact, it is unbreakable and indestructible. Even the temperature on the star that can melt everything cannot hurt it when it falls on the divine power net. After encircling the star, Wu Tong did not stop, but directly grasped the divine power net in his hand and pulled it hard. The next moment, in the surprised and excited eyes of the people in the live broadcast room, in the horrified eyes of the gods in the divine world, compared with the huge and dazzling star, Wu Tong, who is not even an ant or a speck of dust, pulled the entire huge star with just brute force. In the live broadcast room, everyone who saw this scene immediately shouted excitedly, "Don't bully the young and poor, wow 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 awesome." But I'm uneducated, so I can only say wow to tell everyone, Fanchen Yi, is this God? This kind of power is really terrifying. Bully Spider, he can actually pull the power of the stars, it's simply terrifying. Huashin Gentleman Sword, with his own power, he can pull the huge and scorching sun. I guess the ancient sages and descendants of great sages in our world are not as good as Mr. Wu Tong at this moment. Dragon King spraying water, wow, our 6th rank powerhouse is so perverted? Hizai, can you do this? Xianji King, little group leader, are you kidding? I'm not a pervert like Wu Tong, how could I do such a thing? Dragon King spraying water, but aren't you also in the middle stage of 6th rank? Xianji King, little group leader, before asking this question, you have to understand one thing, King Xianji. First of all, I'm engaged in scientific research. My strength lies in technology. I don't think much of my own strength. So among the 6th order, my combat effectiveness is not strong. King Xianji. Secondly, the Shinto system that Wu Tong practices is deduced based on the ancient gods. As we all know, the physical strength of the ancient gods is almost the strongest among the same order. That's why he can possess such great strength. I'm not a cultivator of the ancient god system. How can I pull the sun with my head, King Xianji? Finally, Wu Tong is a cheater and a pervert. I'm just an ordinary person. Don't compare me with this kind of thing. The Dragon King sprayed water, just when everyone in the live broadcast room was joking and talking about it. The star on the other side of the dimensional gate has gradually approached the dimensional gate. After the star approached, Wu Tong also directly mobilized the power of the divine authority. The power of the sun, star control. The power of destiny, must hit the inscription. The power of order, size as desired. The power of restrained, energy beam shape. The power of several divine authorities instantly penetrated the body, and with a divine power net as the medium, it quickly spread to the star and acted on it. In fact, if it were normal times, Wu Tong would not need any medium to use the divine power. But now Wu Tong's attention is mostly focused on pulling the sun, and the control of the divine power has naturally decreased a little. Therefore, Wu Tong needs the divine power net as a medium to activate the power. However, using the divine power net as a medium, Wu Tong's tired mind can't help but relax a little. Wu Tong, damn, pretending is so tiring, I won't do it anymore. Soon, the power of several divine authorities quickly spread to the star along the divine power network, turning the entire star into a toy in Wu Tong's hands. The power of the sun softens the edges, smooths the energy of the star's riot. The power of order transforms the form, compresses the huge star to make it smaller, making it denser and more powerful. The power of restraint shapes the form. Through the power of restraint, the compressed star is condensed into a blazing golden spear. The power of destiny engraves the inscription, attaches the inscription of destiny, making it unavoidable and can only resist. In just a moment, the originally huge and vast star, Under the power of the divine authority mobilized by Wu Tong, it turned into a piece of plasticine that could be kneaded at will. In the surprised eyes of everyone, it was compressed, shrunk, stretched, cut, and shaped. Finally, it turned into a terrifying golden spear engraved with countless fine runes, with a fiery golden color all over, emitting a temperature comparable to the core of the sun. Dragon King spraying water, oh my god, this is too scary, right, Dragon King spraying water, but why does the appearance of this spear seem a little familiar? Buyao Bilion, Little Sun, it's Little Sun's spear. I didn't expect Brother Tong to be a moon fan, Fan Chen Yi, moon fan? Little Sun? Oh, by the way, isn't this Karnas god-killing spear? Don't bully the poor young man, mythology reflects reality, but I have to say, this spear is really cool. Lazy Angel, why did Wu Tong suddenly come up with this? Lazy Angel, by the way, he won't suddenly give us an embarrassment, right? What Gabriel didn't expect was that as soon as she said this, Wu Tong gave everyone a big surprise. Cosplay, Karna. Wu Tong's figure flashed, and he directly turned into the appearance of Karna in the Fate world. Holding a fiery golden spear, wearing golden armor, his white hair fluttered in the wind, and his pair of golden pupils exuded a cold and indifferent divinity, which made him look like a god who could judge all the sins in the world. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.